and even unconstitutional laws. I will also continue to help keep our community safe. Our children are safer in schools because nearly every school district in Oneida County has a trained member of the Sheriff's Office on duty. In Utica and other municipalities, our deputies stand with police to assist them because of an increase in crime. The men and women of the Oneida County Sheriff's Office are making a positive difference. I'm Rob Mashel, and law enforcement is my family. Your safety and their safety matters to me. This November, please vote for me to continue as your Oneida County Sheriff, paid for by the Friends of Rob Mashel.
It's time to start the program. It's time to earn our pay. It's time to meet the people on the Keeler Show today. It's time to read the news and weather. Time to figure out what to say. It's time to turn the channel of the Keeler Show today. Why do we always listen? Keeler's always in the know. It makes me want to call him and tell him where to go. And now let's get things started. Andrew, let's get things started.
It's time to get things started.
On the most sensational, inspirational, celebrational, Keelerational. This is what we call the Keeler Show.
WIBX 950 and 1069 FM. This is Keeler.
This is the first morning I have had ice on the windshield, frost.
Oh, mine wasn't that bad. It
on
actually,
the windshield.
it just took a couple of. It was close to ice. It was getting close to it, but mine wasn't frozen. I was able to get it off pretty quickly.
I have ice this morning.
Actually, it's amazing how this cold freeze dips way down into the south. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, I was going to ask.
It's actually colder, Christine, colder in the south than it is up here in some spots.
I was going to say it's about 33 degrees in North Carolina, which is what I have for Utica right now, and I do have frost on my window. So,
and as I said, it's the first time I've had any of the that frosty stuff on the windshield. Don't like it, but warmer weather, at least for a little while, is coming. Even most of next week, we look fairly mild with temperatures upper 60s, low 70s. So, and the weekend right now looks really nice. So, let's cross our fingers.
I have to say, as somebody who constantly complains about the weather, I said it earlier this week, we're on a run of about 6 months. I'm not saying it hasn't rained on a Saturday or Sunday, but generally speaking, 8 out of 10 weekends, the best weather of the week comes on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I mean, we've had a great run. How many times you get a washout on a Tuesday or Wednesday, and your Saturday, Sunday is beautiful? And I feel like so many other years, it's the opposite. It's raining on Saturday, it's cloudy on Sunday, and Tuesdays, gorgeous sunshine with 81 degrees. It's been the complete opposite this year. We've been so lucky.
Let us just quickly talk about the Yankees last night, Davey. Pretty excited. The Yankees winning yesterday. I just kind of thought there was a moment where it looked like, wow, is Cleveland coming back in the top of the ninth inning? And sure enough, they weren't, and it's all over. The Yankees move on.
Right, and they go against Justin Verlander tonight. Jamison Tyone gets the ball for the Yanks, and hopefully the momentum carries on into Houston. Houston's a good team, but they're coming off a couple of days rest, but I'm rooting for the Yankees.
And that game is today. They play today, or is there a rest?
7:30.
Wow,
No, they play today. Yeah.
So no rest, and most likely because of the rain delay. Well, the rain out. So that helped the Yankees yesterday, I feel, but it certainly doesn't help them today. Okay, and then of course the news coming out, very interesting. Our big story here this morning is that the Utica School Board yesterday has placed Bruce Karam on administrative leave. Manasseh, what do we know so far on this one?
Yeah, that, well, essentially not a ton because I think it falls under the personnel-related situation, but I do believe, from what I've heard, is that this is about,
It's an employee matter, so they can't talk about it.
yes.
Karam made a statement yesterday, and I'll read that coming up here.
Okay.
In regards to, he says this is a personal vendetta by the board president, who's Joe Habaika. I would have to say that there have been a lot of stories out there about the administration at Utica. And it includes, if you remember, we were talking a year ago about Stampgate and investigations. And
Right.
you still hear rumblings about that. So is there something to this? I guess time will tell. He says it's personal. With Habaika, we did ask Joe Habaika to come out and speak about that this morning, and you received the answer.
Joe said he could not. It was a personnel matter. Thanks for the invite, but I can't do it, so.
Which I guess you understand. Here's what Karam said. He did decline to comment, but released a statement saying, in part, it appears that because of a personal vendetta by the president of the Board of Education, he and 3 other board members have voted to place me on administrative leave. That part is kind of confusing because there are a total of 4 board members who voted to place him on administrative leave. So it must be a vendetta by all 4 board members, not just Habaika, right?
I guess.
I mean, if they all voted for it. Or maybe Habaika has convinced them all. I don't know. But anyway, personal vendetta by the president of the Board of Education. He and 3 other board members have voted to place me on administrative leave. And the other part is it's paid administrative leave. You're still being paid. They say there is an investigation, and it is a complaint by someone. What is the lawsuit there? Where are the damages? You're still being paid. You're on paid leave until the investigation is concluded. Where are the damages?
Reputation? I don't know. Yeah, it's a good question, though.
Right? I mean, I don't know that there are any, except for the cloud, which really is created by the accusation, not necessarily by placing the person on leave.
So wait a minute. Karam's response to this is to come out swinging and
Swinging.
throw board members under the bus.
Let me give you his. By the way, his employers. He works for the board. It appears that because of a personal vendetta by the president of the Board of Education, he and 3 other board members have voted to place me on administrative leave. No charges have been filed against me. No allegations or accusations against me of any kind have been investigated or substantiated by the district or any other authority. It is therefore my intention to immediately commence legal action against the city school district. I would like to volunteer my services to assist Bruce Karam in helping him craft a statement. One thing you should include in the statement is, I'm innocent, I didn't do anything wrong. That is nowhere to be found in his statement. He never in his statement says, I didn't do anything. He says, there are no allegations or accusations against me of any kind that have been investigated. Now, meanwhile, the board voted yesterday in executive session to investigate an employee. So while there hasn't been an investigation, it seems like the board in executive session yesterday voted that there will be. And there is an accusation out there that we've heard does exist. So where's the part where you say, I am innocent? I have done nothing wrong. I am not a crook. I mean, there's none of that in there.
So can I just ask a question, because I was very confused by this story. When the school board voted, they said it was an employee. Karam came out and identified himself as that employee.
Correct.
Okay. Just want to make sure.
So basically, and I asked Habaika for a comment last night, and he said, I cannot comment. It is an employee matter. I said, you can't even confirm that it is Karam.
Did you do it with the tone in your voice? I love when you do
Just
that.
like that.
You can't even confirm it.
Right. That's and he said, I have no comment. Now, I reached out to some people in education and said, Am I okay by concluding that if you've put an employee on administrative leave, and then the very next motion is you approve to appoint a temporary, an acting superintendent, is it okay legally for me to conclude that it's probably Bruce Karam? And I was told, as long as you write it that way, then you absolutely can conclude that. It's kind of obvious. But then Bruce made a statement and confirmed it anyway. Sure. So there is no confusion in the story. It's Bruce Karam. Right. I just wrote it in a way that the board would not confirm that it was him. So,
right. No, your writing wasn't confusing.
No, I'm just saying it isn't confusing at all because it's an employee matter. The board can't talk about the reason they did it in his executive session is it involves someone who's made an accusation, we assume, against Karam. And I think this is one of those typical situations where the municipality or the school board can't talk, and the employee who is maybe under fire is able to come out and defend him or herself. Mm-hmm. Whereas we always get no comment from the city, the town, the municipality, or the school district because of the rights that the employee has because it is an employee matter. So I think that's where this whole thing kind of falls. But you cannot erase the fact that there's been so much talk over, it wasn't that long ago, the whole Lapola fundraiser. What was that? Where did that money go? We still never found out where that money went. We still never found out, did the school district send out invites to this fundraiser? Well,
Lou said no to me on that.
Right. Well, then I'm comfortable. I'm comfortable.
No. I'm just saying.
I'm absolutely comfortable.
No.
So, I just think there are a lot of questions. And then you hear about we're not the only ones. Everybody's hearing. There are being investigations. The DA's office is investigating. The FBI is investigating. You're hearing a lot of stories out there. Is any of this true? And this is the first move, it seems, that would make you think there might be something there, or maybe not, and which is why it's administrative leave and it's full pay.
The only thing missing there was maybe the CIA is investigating, or
right,
Kim Jong-un has launched a probe.
Well, I believe there's actually some collusion between someone and Kim Jong-un, but I think Kanye West might be involved. So we'll have to see. But
that
anyway,
sounds like an interesting dossier.
Christine, interesting story, right? This
is an interesting story.
Doesn't happen every day.
Yes, and I do think that there's still an investigation happening pertaining to all that other stuff that I know for a fact.
Okay, so there is an investigation.
But that's been going on for several months.
That's certainly what we have been hearing. But we know for a fact that is going on.
Yes, but I don't know if that has anything to do with this most recent development.
Okay, all right. So, again, I only say in the statement from Mr. Karam, with all due respect, I would have added in there, I did nothing wrong. There's nothing here. I kind of would have added that to the statement.
So it's paid administrative leave. There's never a timeline on these things, right? He's not on paid leave for a month or 2 months. It's whenever it's over, it's over.
I believe the wording of it was very, and I see where Christine is going because it was very cryptic last night. I watched the meeting because all of a sudden, like a bee's nest, a hornet's nest had been whacked by a broomstick. All of a sudden, the text messages started coming in. They're going to fire Bruce Karam tonight. Bruce Karam's getting fired tonight. And then I had some people saying he was going to resign. He's going to step down. And I'm like, boy, I can't believe that's going to happen. And but ultimately, it was an action, but not anything that's permanent at this point. So a put on paid leave. So he still gets paid. He doesn't have to show up for work. The other part of this, I have to say to Bruce, is I wish that happened to me.
I know. I was just going to say,
I know.
Paid administrative leave is not necessarily a terrible thing. Like,
I guess it's probably, as Jeff said, maybe there's an embarrassment to it. I guess.
But anybody could be put on administrative leave for any allegation. That's what you have to do.
That's the part where I find this hard to believe that a lawsuit would go anywhere, because according to the board, there was an accusation and an investigation, and that the decision was, while that happens, this employee goes on administrative leave. I don't know what the damages would be, because he has that opportunity to walk out of it after the investigation to determine. And they're saying the investigation by an independent authority. He'll have the opportunity to walk away and say, yeah, he did nothing wrong.
I have no idea what the protocol and procedure is there, but it would just seem to me that anytime you have an allegation and there's going to be an investigation, you put the employee on leave. They didn't identify him as the employee.
They did not.
He did that.
And he did that. And, again, I pushed Hobica pretty hard.
So the other thing, too, is
to the point where he said, do you want to still give away money? And I said, well, if it means I can't do it anymore.
You said, sure. If you're gonna pay Bruce for not working, we might as well pay the listeners.
I could be on administrative leave.
So the embarrassing thing is when you're on non-paid administrative leave, right? Because
Correct.
that means there's enough to say that you possibly did something wrong.
I think that's a very good conclusion.
Yeah.
Amazon workers now this is going on all over the country, but it's happened up here now. Amazon workers in upstate New York overwhelmingly rejected a union bid on Tuesday, handing a second defeat to the labor group that's been attempting to drag the company into the negotiating table since its historic win earlier this year.
Okay, so their opposition currently is against a group that wants to form a union for them.
So right now, the number of employees, the majority of employees, and I believe it's about 66% of them, voted no on a union.
2 out of 3.
So, that's the Amazon plant out near Albany. We've heard rumblings that it could happen on the one that's out, is it Baldwinsville or out Syracuse way? And there's an Amazon distribution center, one of the smaller ones in Frankfurt. No word on any of those, but according to the National Labor Relations Board, 206 workers, or 33%, voted in favor of joining the union. The agency said 918 employees were eligible to vote, and the 31 ballots that were challenged by either Amazon or the union were not enough to sway the outcome. So there you have it. And I guess that would tell you that there are enough employees who say, no, we're okay with the way we're being treated.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
As to decide not to form a union. What comes with a union? The only negative you could say would be you pay union dues. But there is then a union that's there to protect you if something occurs.
Right.
And the employees there have voted against that. We mentioned the Comets announced that they will be playing their makeup portion of the remaining of that. And I thought about this. You're going to ask for Wilkes-Barre Scranton to come all the way up here for a period and 2 minutes, basically. So there's about 2 minutes and 30 seconds left in the second period. So they're going to come all the way up here for that. But I dipped into the schedule and sure enough found that they are playing Rochester the following night. So they're just coming up a day early. They'll make a stop in Utica, hopefully lose that game, and then move on to play the Amherst in Rochester. So that does not happen, though, until January 24th, right? I believe. What else do I have out here? We have a ton to get to this morning. Dr. Hall is on, and there's a lot of talk about this very new, dangerous strain of COVID. Is it real, is the question being asked. Is this a real threat? They're saying that in places where it is currently beginning to take a stronghold, that there are reports that the virus, this strain of the virus, has doubled in a matter of 24 hours.
Wow.
That would be a real problem, right? I would think.
Well, yeah, it would seem so, but then I wonder, so many people, I know some people still get seriously ill from this, but so many people seem to brush it off quickly, which is a good thing.
Yeah, I think I think you're correct there. So we'll talk to Dr. Hall and see what he thinks about this. And there has been a lot of talk, and from Dr. Hall, about the fact that normally in these viruses, when the strains come, it begins mutating, that the mutations tend to be a little less dangerous. But that doesn't necessarily happen with the flu, right? With the flu, it's a crapshoot.
Yeah,
It's like
some
one
years it's
year-
worse.
Right.
Yeah.
Some years the strain doesn't seem to be as bad this year, or this one seems to be. Make sure you get your flu shot. This one seems to be a little bit on the bad side.
Certainly not
So-
certainly not a doctor, but it would seem to me that I think we use that in a general term. Like obviously when COVID first came, it was people were dying on ventilators like what every other day. I mean, it was
Well,
it
in the
was
very beginning, that was
horrific.
terrible. Yeah,
Right.
it was
So
awful.
I think when we say it gets worse, we're like we don't have to deal with this type of
Right,
death and
right.
destruction. It's a general term, but I don't know that every step is a down step.
Well, we'll see what Dr. Hall has to say. And now, we're going to offer you a little evil this morning on the radio. The evil DMV and Rome closer,
knew it.
Tony Pacenti, is coming on
gonna
the
go there
air.
next. That was great.
According to some commercials that might be airing right now, the evil Tony Pacenti has wanted nothing more than to be able to close the DMV in Rome. That dirty little DMV. You're going down. And there is one candidate out there for county clerk who says it's her pressure that opened it up. She's the reason. It's open. And that if she does not become county clerk, the evil Tony will close it up all over again. All right, that's my little rendition of what's going on there.
Forget high taxes. You've been sentenced to long lines.
That's right. Oh, Lord.
Look, we'll ask him. It's certainly an accusation that's being made here in the upcoming race. My understanding is it is completely separate office from the county executive's office.
I'm very interested to hear this from Tony, but and in full disclosure, during political seasons, I do political commercials, and I can tell you right now, I do commercials for Brian Miller, I do commercials for Sheriff Mashel, and I do commercials for Mary Finnegan.
Mm-hmm.
Mary Finnegan is the opponent. That offers no advantage to any of them on the radio. Their opponents are always welcome with open arms to come on the radio. But this candidate decided that I would not be fair and made a demand that I have to leave the studio in order for her to, right?
That was the.
I
that
have
was
to
the
leave. If
request.
I
That
leave the
was the-
studio, she'll come on the air. Well, I'm not doing that.
Yes.
But I would, I feel like if I have any involvement with friends with or have an involvement where I'm doing some commercial work for a candidate, it shines the spotlight on me, and people watch very carefully. How is he going to treat this person? And I will always kind of back away a little bit and let Jeff take the lead or Christine on the interview, just because. I just would never be unfair just because I'm working on commercials for somebody. I would never do that. And I
you
welcome
would
her.
lose credibility.
It would be
so-
terrible. I would
Right.
welcome her to come on the air. I've even resisted in some of the things that she's talked about in her commercials that I know just are not necessarily factual. Pacenti has nothing to do with the closing of the DMV. And I'm not defending Mary Finnegan here. I'm just trying to lay out the facts. That, in fact, Tony Pacenti was on this program the day afterwards. Jackie Izzo was on this program the day after the DMV in Rome closed. They all were saying they had no idea it was coming, and they were urging the Sandy DePerno to reopen the DMV. But she is independent of DePerno. That office is independent
Yes.
of the county executive's office. He cannot make her open or pressure. I mean, I guess you can call, you better do it. I guess you could do that. But the reality, he was doing that from the day after she closed it.
So-
And they claim they learned about it in the media. That's how they knew it was closing.
So I think that he might have a better chance of pressuring her if he uses the theme music when he calls her.
I think you might be right. And that music is really powerful, right? I mean,
is.
you're dealing with the opportunity of evil. Yeah. But it should come from Pacini. It's not for me to clarify that, but I think that's what he's coming on. A commercial clearly stating that he is going to close it up again the minute Mary Finnegan becomes a county clerk. So.
I just want to go back to the fairness issue. Look, we have listeners. I love, as much as I enjoy working with you both, one of the things I love the most about being here is our audience. And they make their own opinions on things. They have their own opinions on things, and they make their own decisions on things, is what I'm trying to say. So even if you ask a tough question and it comes across the wrong way, we either get feedback for the audience or they'll feel a certain kind of way. But the idea that, like, I don't know, you can't come in here because if somebody asks you a tough question, it's a crash and burn on the whole campaign. It just doesn't make any sense to me. And I'd say that to any candidate, Republican or Democrat or whatever.
I'm going to say something here that I think I may have said on the air before. I sometimes feel that, listen, I have to make a living, and this ain't cutting it. I do other work beyond working here in the morning. So it's what I do. It's what I did before I came here. I was doing this long before I came here. So I sometimes feel candidates who come on who I might take to task in a normal setting because I am doing work for their opponent places me in a position where I kind of back off a little bit. I almost feel like it works in favor of the opponent.
Yeah, well, I wish you wouldn't, but
okay. I'm just saying, I feel uncomfortable. You know, I would be calling her to task on some of the things that were in her commercials, but it's difficult for me to do that. That's why I kind of leave that to you and Christine. So take it for what it is. She is absolutely welcome to come on the air, but I do think some of the things should be cleared up. What is true and what isn't true.
Also, I just want to say that is, frankly, that is our understanding of the way the clerk's office work and the county executive's office work. It's different. It's a different department. It's run independently. But if she had some information,
by law, right?
If she had some information,
she had information.
We'd
we'll
love
run with
to.
it.
Yeah,
absolutely, right.
Certainly, I'd love to know, and I'd love to share it.
Because there's two things in this world: getting paid to work for campaigns and clicks. That's what drives us in the world, right? Isn't that the new world? You're going to get clicks, and any story that could shine any light on a controversy is going to get clicks, and everybody's just all joy and a lot of joy and happiness. Davey, who's on line 2 or 1? What are we doing? Who?
Cordelia.
Oh, I did not realize it. I'd have taken her immediately. Hello, yes, Christine. Hold on, Cordelia. Christine is about to speak.
I'm sorry, Cordelia. I just need to mention this one thing. The other thing is that almost everyone who works in radio has another job. So to single you out to say that you're doing this and, you know, it's another thing on the side is not fair because almost everyone in this business has another job. It may not be doing media outright for somebody, but it's doing voiceovers or doing things like that. So,
Jeff.
Great segue, Christine. So if you're hiring part-time, call now, 315. No,
Cordelia might be hiring.
Listen, I don't even, it's not even about whether it's, I like when people, I enjoy an interview where someone disagrees. I feel like that's what we're here for. And I prefer it and I love it and I love the job. And that's just where we are. And if I'm ever being unfair to someone, believe me, I hear it from people all the time. You let Pacini off, you never ask him any tough questions. Why do you fight with, we don't fight with Pacini, but you'll fight with Claudia Tenney. Well, Claudia Tenney is, when you ask Claudia a question, that's when the fight begins. Pacini or Griffo, they answer the questions when whether they like the question I'm asking or not, they answer the question. So how do I fight with that? I can't believe you answered my question. How do you fight with that? Here's, although Claudia is kind of a story that's not, it's dawned on me recently. What a miscalculation by Claudia Tenney. Wow. What a miscalculation.
On the NY22?
If Quinnipiac has it right, Brandon Williams is 3 points behind is only like 3 points behind, or in some polls, showing him ahead of Canole. Canole.
Canole, yeah. I know, and we'll talk to Canole tomorrow.
She could have, based on the current climate, I think she could have won this race.
I do have to tell you, though, I wonder about some of these poll numbers. Christine, you and Cordelia were coming. I'm sorry, hon. Listen, you accurately pointed this out in your update here, noted that there was a poll out yesterday that says Hochul went from 17-point lead to 11-point lead. There's a poll out today that says, what is it, 4 points? I mean, somebody's wrong. Somebody's wrong.
First of all, I don't necessarily trust, and this is all the way around. I feel like I'm agreeing with President Trump here. I don't trust any of the polls right now. And I think part of the problem is many of these polls, people are getting on their phones, their text messages that you're responding to. It could be anybody doing that response. Are you a likely voter? Or is it your kid who decided to push a button on your phone? I'm not sure, since the fall of the landline, that polling has the accuracy that it used to have. Here is Cordelia on the line in Rome. Good morning. Cordelia, good morning.
Good morning. Well, on the subject of Brandon Williams, the Republican voters of Oneida County have the golden opportunity to meet him. He will be at Harts Hill Inn between 5 and 7 p.m. on Monday, October 24th.
All right. Harts Hill Inn this Monday. Harts Hill Inn. You can meet him and ask him questions.
Yes, and I think everybody, all these Republican voters who are like they must be on the line or whatever they are, it gives them an opportunity to really come in and meet the gentleman.
All right.
And I have to kind of sit back and think different things. But that's what's going on with Mr. Williams right now. And
have you met him as of yet, Cordelia?
No, I haven't.
Yeah. Okay.
We had all met Mr. Wells at one opportunity but that was prior to the.
I got to tell you, I'm loving these commercials that are one negative commercial after another, and I just recently had pasta off my diet. I get it with truffles and a cream sauce, and it was so good. I'm a fan. And the fact that his family owns a truffle farm, that's cool, I find. My wife said it to me the other day. She said, these commercials, they'll come out and they'll talk about the opponent and they'll say all these things. Sometimes I'm watching the commercial, she said, and I'm like, oh, I didn't even know about that person, but I'm voting for that person.
Yeah, right.
The one with a dark shade and the one that's supposedly evil. I kind of believe in what that person is. So I think I'm not sure about all of these commercials.
Yeah, it is interesting to me. We live in a different time post-COVID. Maybe it's post-COVID, but where it's you're a business owner, you're independent, you make your own money. Wow, what kind of a scumbag are
that's
you?
The whole thing. It's like it's almost as if they're trying to cast a negative shadow on Brandon Williams because his family owns a truffle farm. And because you don't like truffles, you must not like Brandon Williams. I mean, I just find that to be
I think it's
the dumbest concept I've ever seen.
They claim that it's like what? Essentially, it's a higher end food. It's not something the average Joe eats.
Right.
So
I don't even know what it is. Looks like coal to me. Really? That's the best. That commercial probably cost $50,000 to create. I mean,
and it probably costs a lot of votes.
And think about what it's costing to play it. It's unbelievable. But they know so much better than everybody else and the rest of us. I just don't get it. Yeah.
You can realize all the culinary chefs that will vote for him.
They're like,
truffles.
I didn't realize there were truffles. But then I don't know. The commercial then goes on to say, and his parents shipped jobs to China. Did they ship the jobs to China, or is it the truffles? They're selling the truffles to the Chinese. I don't know. I don't know what's going on.
Cordelia, you have an amazing laugh.
There's dog trainers that purposely train dogs to go find the truffles.
I know. Well, all I can say is I'm a fan. So there you go. Okay, interesting, Cordelia. Thank you. That's Monday. What's the time again at Harts Hill?
5 to 7.
5 to 7. 5 to 7, Hartsville on a Monday. Okay, thank you. I wonder if
Thank
he'll
you.
bring truffles. That would be cool.
Pass them out.
Everybody, and you get a truffle, and you get a truffle. All right, Cordelia, thank you.
Or,
You're
you know,
welcome. Bye-bye.
a little changing of the wording. And by the way, Christine, I also noticed I love Cordelia's laugh as well.
She's got a good bellowing laugh.
But what you can say is, Brandon Williams could say something like, if you want to tell this administration that they've made some wrong decisions, tell Joe Biden he's in trouble.
Yeah, he's in
by
trouble.
electing me.
He is in trouble. I have a few comments if you care here. Rob, I'm not sure I can quote you directly. Utica is a blank hole.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I can, but thanks for that, Rob.
Very
Michael,
Trumpy in there by Rob.
Michael this morning says, while it doesn't rain on weekends, according to Manaski, it does seem to be raining on Bruce Karam's parade this morning. and I'm assuming Bruce will not use Joe as his lawyer against the board. I think that assumption is pretty clear.
I agree. Am I wrong, though, on the weather? Have we not been extremely lucky?
We're getting lucky. And, for those... you have your backyard stuff you want to put away before winter. It's another gift here where you can get things away and get everything buttoned up for the wintertime.
But I mean, even going back to April and May,
yeah,
the weather wasn't great, but like the weekends were always the best days of the week,
which is awesome. Also, Mike this morning says if you do have Brandon Williams on, make sure you ask him for his favorite truffle recipe. Oh, that's a great idea. We'll have to definitely do that. And you'll be able to see him over there at the Hartsville Inn. All right, 6:54. We'll break. Coming up, we have news, top of the hour. Next hour, Dr. Kent Hall, Hobica's free money question of the day. We'll give you a chance to win $106.90. Tony Paceni, the evil one, is coming on. According to the Merima political ad, Pacenti will be closing the Rome DMV right after the election, and that he's the reason that the Rome DMV has closed in the first place. Again, my recollection was Pacenti and Izzo both on the radio the day after it was closed, both saying, I don't know why she did this. We're asking that she reopen it. But we'll let him refresh our memory coming up here. 6:54 at WIABX.
It's time to find new roads and save at your certified pre-owned Chevy store, Steve Ponte Chevrolet in Herkimer. When you buy a GM certified pre-owned SUV or truck, you'll have peace of mind knowing all their vehicles have passed a rigorous 172-point inspection with a 6-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty and a 1-year bumper-to-bumper limited warranty. Stop in today and choose from a large selection of SUVs and trucks. Test drive their like-new 2022 Chevy 3500 Silverado LT 4x4 with only 5,000 miles. Or a 2019 Chevy Trax LT. Enjoy great deals and the buying experience you deserve on every Steve Ponte car, truck, or SUV. Shopping for a brand new, reliable, sturdy, full-size truck? Steve Ponte Chevy has a huge selection of Chevy on the lot with more arriving every day. But hurry in because they're going fast. Steve Ponte Chevrolet, your locally owned and operated dealership, Route 28 in Herkimer, or call them at 315-866-5080. See why it's always easy to do business at Steve Ponte Chevrolet.
A photographer takes us on a journey looking into the fascinating lives of the residents of a small New England town where we are witness to the blossoming of love with all its joy and heartbreak. For 2 weekends only, October 21st through the 30th, Players of Utica presents Kodachrome, a funny and touching true-to-life drama directed by Eric Almleaf. In the town of Colchester, everybody knows one another, and the slower pace of life allows for the pursuit of love for young and old alike. Don't miss this remarkable play about life, love, nostalgia, and learning to say goodbye in an unforgettable multimedia experience you will not forget. That's October 21st through the 30th, with matinees for Sunday performances. Get your tickets for Kodachrome at playersofutica.org or call 315-724-7624 today. Senior and student tickets are available with proper ID at both the evening and matinee performances. That's playersofutica.org.
I'm William Attar. Big truck crashes often result in serious injuries or death. After a big truck crash, call William Attar, the largest motor vehicle accident firm in the state. After a serious truck crash, call us right away. so our immediate response team can preserve evidence while you focus on your family. Truck crash? Call William Attar, 315-444-4444, South State Street, Syracuse.
WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
So it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday morning, and here we go. Coldest start of the season so far. It's a little chilly out there. And Manaski, no frost on his windows. I had frost on my windows. Davey had frost on your windshield, right?
Yes, I did.
Yeah. Before we know it, it'll be that time, right, where we're dealing with all of that snow.
I woke up this morning, it was nothing but sunshine in New York Mills, so I just...
There's a story that was out recently that said we're expecting a snowier than normal and colder than normal winter. And then, I don't know if you saw the story that came out yesterday that said, oops, we think we might be wrong. It might be a warmer and rainier winter with less snow. Are they just guessing? Are they just throwing it out there and seeing what sticks? Let's see how the people react to this.
I do think it's possible that it's mostly a guess.
I do think it probably changes. So if that's the case, how do we... I guess there's a jet stream. We get into a pattern. Right now, that jet stream is dipping way low, which is bringing that cool air down into the south.
I have to say, though, when I just don't know the determination that's used to say it's going to be warmer or snowier or whatever. And it's 6 inches more snow means more snow? Or is it 10 inches less snow means less snow? Because let's be honest, if you live here, if you told me we're going to have, I don't know, how much does it snow in a month? Let's say in 1 month you normally have, I'm making it up, 26 inches
we do.
of snow.
On a normal summer, winter, we might get like 110 inches of
for the
snow.
whole season.
Yeah, and that's
so
probably...
if we got 107 or
yeah.
115, is that a noticeable difference to you?
Sometimes, though, we'll only get, can you believe we only had 65 inches of snow this winter?
It's noticeable.
So that's a noticeable difference.
By cutting it in half, yeah.
I don't
so
think
when it's always a little variation,
yeah.
I don't know.
I will tell you that it does seem that the colder weather seems to be around earlier. And there are some spots that got, even in western New York, got a lot of snow. At the very least, they got some snow. And it even for them and out Michigan way, that area, the Midwest, you're talking about early for snow. God, it's not even Halloween. All right, news is straight ahead.
From the Excellus Blue Cross Blue Shield Studio, WIBX 950 Utica Road, W295DI Utica Road, your news, talk, and sports leader, a Town Square media station.
It got fiery in Florida. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. Another heated debate and another race that will determine which party controls the Senate.
She's never passed a single bill. She's been in Congress for over half a decade. She's never passed a bill.
Senator Marco Rubio on WPBF taking that shot at House Democrat Val Demings, who's trying to unseat the Republican.
I think there was a time when you did not lie in order to win. I don't know what happened to you. You know that is not true.
Demings did sponsor 2 bills that renamed post offices. They also sparred over several issues, including inflation. Senator Rubio critical of President Biden's continuing to draw oil from the strategic U.S. reserve to help lower prices, saying that's not what the stockpiles are for.
They exist to help this country in an emergency or in the midst of a storm.
Now, the president plans to announce another 15 million barrels to be released to complete the 180 million he'd already pledged to take out of that reserve earlier this year. As for critics saying the White House should incentivize more domestic production, Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre says
there is no shortage of opportunity or incentive for oil companies to ramp up production. We've made that clear. Oil companies are ranking in record profits, as we have seen.
Now, gas prices are down 7 cents from a week ago. Inflation remains the top issue for voters in a new Fox News poll. The second issue most concerning for parents surveyed, what's taught in schools, then abortion.
If Democrats keep control of the House and expand their numbers in the Senate, President Biden says the first piece of legislation he'll send the new Congress will be to codify Roe v. Wade.
Together we'll restore the right to choose for every woman in every state in America. So vote. You got to get out the vote. We can do this if we vote.
President made the promise at a DNC event in Washington, D.C. House Democrats have passed legislation expanding abortion protections nationwide. Those have failed in the 50-50 divided Senate.
That's Fox's Jared Halpern. America's listening to Fox News.
Hey, a lot of you know that I learned how to use a firearm when I was 11 years old. I've been practicing my entire life, and people ask me all the time, Hannity, what kind of gun should I get? Well, now I'm telling them, go to Henry Repeating Arms. And I always tell them to start just by going to their website, henryusa.com. You're going to get a free catalog. Now, Henry has over 200 models of rifles and shotguns to choose from. They're made with the finest craftsmanship I've ever seen, and you don't beat their performance. Every one I have was accurate right out of the box and reliable ever since. Their company motto is made in America or not made at all. They have a lifetime warranty, family-owned business, and these folks are true patriots who give back to our military, our vets, our first responders, sick kids, you name it. They support gun safety, and they support our Second Amendment. So if you're in the market for a high-quality American-made firearm, just go to henryusa.com. You get their free catalog, list of dealers, and free decals, henryusa.com. You'll love this company.
Good morning, WIBX. First news with Keeler in the morning. News time is 7:03, 33 degrees. We'll have your full forecast coming up in just 2 minutes. Your news is brought to you by Harley-Davidson of Utica. Well, the Utica City School Board Superintendent Bruce Karam is on administrative leave after a 4-2 vote Tuesday night. The district says the person initially named as an employee by the district and later confirmed to be Karam by Karam himself was placed on paid administrative leave pending an investigation. Karam says he'll pursue legal action and says the leave is the result of a personal vendetta against him by board president Joseph Hobaika. Hobaika says it is a personnel matter and would not comment on the case. Brian Nolan is now acting superintendent for the district. The community continuing to mourn the loss of a longtime force for positive change in the Utica area. After having quietly fought lung cancer for the last few years, 60-year-old Patrick Johnson lost his battle with the disease over the weekend. He served most recently as director of Save Our Streets, which was administered through the Oneida County District Attorney's Office. A Utica native says he is the luckiest guy in the Navy. Commander Anthony Falco, a native of Utica, assuming duties as director and officer in charge of NAVCO, that's the Navy Office of Community Outreach. Favco joined the military 29 years ago and now serves as a Navy public affairs officer. A Syracuse middle school student has been arrested following an incident that happened allegedly on a school bus. Investigators say the incident involving the Clary Middle School student and another student occurred back in September. School officials were made aware of the crime the following day and have been investigating. The suspect has now been charged with one count of an attempted criminal sex act because of the student's age. The case was referred to family court and the identity will not be released. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer starting a new push to limit the use of semiconductor chips manufactured in China. Schumer says Chinese companies with connections to the Chinese Communist Party have been selling their chips to companies working closely with the federal government. Schumer believes that could put national security at risk as well as the data of New Yorkers. He's now working to add a provision to the National Defense Authorization Act that would increase demand for microchips that are made in places like upstate New York. This, of course, in the wake of several microchip conductor companies moving to New York. With just under 3 weeks until Election Day, 2 brand new polls show the race for New York governor is tightening. Quinnipiac University shows Democrat and incumbent Governor Kathy Hochul has just a 4-point advantage over her Republican challenger, Long Island Congressman Lee Zeldin. A Siena College poll released yesterday puts Hochul ahead of Zeldin by 11 points, which is 6 fewer than last month. Your WIBX Weather Center forecast is brought to you by Country Suburban, your premier Lennox dealer. A slight chance of showers this afternoon, increasing clouds with a high near 48 degrees. A slight chance of showers continuing on into the evening, particularly after 11 p.m., mostly cloudy with a low around 37 degrees. Thursday, partly sunny, the high near 50, mostly cloudy. Thursday night with a low around 33. Sunshine on Friday, the high near 59, mostly clear with a low around 41. And then the big news, especially for Jeff Manasky, Saturday, sunny skies, the high near 68 degrees, mostly clear Saturday night with a low around 46, and much of the same on Sunday at least. That's the way it looks for now.
Christine, you buried the lead. Sunday's the better day. You buried the lead. I'm just teasing.
It's going to be beautiful. Can't wait.
By 1 degree.
And I'm sure by the time we get to Friday, it'll change and it'll be cold and rainy.
And rainy. It'll be freezing temperatures.
Yeah, I don't trust anybody.
Your temperature is brought to you by Harley-Davidson of Utica. 33 degrees right now. WIBX 950 AM and 106.9 FM news time is 7:06. Here is Jeff Manaski with sports.
I said Christine buried the lead, but Giancarlo Stanton buried a baseball into the stands yesterday in the first inning, a 3-run shot. The Yankees went on for a 5-1 victory in that deciding game of the American League Division Series. Up next, the ALCS, and they're at it tonight.
No, there's no break at all.
No, they had to travel after the game, and then they'll play today. It's game 1 of the ALCS. The Houston Astros hosting the Yankees. Jamison Tyone is your scheduled starter for the Pinstripes. He'll be opposed by Justin Verlander. First pitch set for 7:37. Coming up this afternoon, it's game 2 between the Phillies and the Padres. Philadelphia stole game 1 in San Diego last night, a final of 2-0. Zach Wheeler, the former Met, out-dueling Yu Darvish. Wheeler struck out 8. He gave up just 1 hit over 7 innings of work. 2-0 the final as Bryce Harper and Kyle Schwarber provided the offense with solo home runs. Again, the second game of that series coming up at 4:35 this afternoon. The Brooklyn Nets ready to finally put last year behind them. They kick off the new season tonight when they host the New Orleans Pelicans. The Knicks, meanwhile, open the season on the road. They'll be taking on the Grizzlies in Memphis. Football news. The Giants announcing a series of roster moves. They've signed wide receiver Marcus Johnson to the 53-man roster. They also signed offensive tackle Corey Cunningham and tight end Lawrence Kager to the practice squad. One day after being released from the active roster, the Jets signed offensive lineman Connor McDermott to the practice squad. He was drafted by New England in the 6th round back in 2017 out of UCLA. He's played 40 games over the course of his big league career. The course of his NFL career. And the New Jersey Devils got their first win of the season, 4-2 over the Anaheim Ducks last night. Dougie Hamilton scored the go-ahead goal just over 30 seconds into the final period.
I want to tell you about if you're looking for something this weekend, we have a great option. It's called the Weekender from Hemstratz and Artisanal Cheese in Utica, Artisanal Premium Cheese. They call it the Weekender. It's a ready-to-go box of amazing artisan cheeses, cured meats, breads, pastries, and half moons available in sizes perfect for you or a friend, a family, even a large gathering. If you're going somewhere, you want to do something at home, it's a great little thing to pick up for the weekend. You can order online at artisanalcheese.com for in-store pickup or have it shipped to you. Weekend should never be stressful, so make Artisanal Premium Cheese at Hemstratz a must-stop. 900 Oswego Street in Utica. Open 7 days a week. Coming up, we'll get Dr. Hall in here. A lot of questions out there regarding there's a stomach bug that seems to be going around that gets a pretty good grip on people. We'll speak with Dr. Hall about that. This new variant of COVID, is it the variant of all variants? I don't know. People are trying to, and then there's the, what do they call it? The dual pandemic, where it's the flu pandemic. Flu-rona. I mean, is that a real thing? It's all just a lot of craziness. We'll speak to the doc coming up. You have any questions? 315-736-0186, 710 at WIBX.
In Albany, the only political party that matters is the majority party.
I'm Assemblywoman Mary Ann Buttonshaw, and I'm a member of the Assembly's majority. As a member of the Assembly, I do more for the Mohawk Valley. More funding for Utica, Rome, and Whitesboro schools than ever before. Almost $500,000 for local fire departments. $125,000 for the town of Deerfield. More funding from Albany means a stronger Mohawk Valley. Wolfspeed means good jobs. The Nexus Center means more recreation and tourism opportunities. Griffiths Business and Technology Park assures our future in high-tech economy. As a member of the Assembly, I brought your voice and your values to the state capitol and brought back expanded youth and senior program funding for our cities and towns and $1 million to assist our youth in crisis at the House of Good Shepherd. Given the chance, I'll do more. That's why the Friends of Mary Ann Buttonshaw paid for this message.
Every day at NBT Bank, we focus our business around all the ways we can help yours. We're large enough to offer leading business and digital solutions, but local enough to ensure personalized one-on-one service. So turn to NBT Bank for a full range of business solutions, like capital and treasury management services, even fraud protection, and see how NBT Bank is just the right size to help you do big things. Visit nbtbank.com to learn more and start a conversation. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
This is Harry G., the heat pump expert from Country Suburban. With New York State planning to eliminate fossil fuels, heat pumps are the wave of the future. Heat pumps can save you up to 30% or more on your heating and cooling bills. Right now, you can receive up to $20,000 in heat pump incentives. Call 315-735-5300 for a free estimate.
Democrats predicted an end to high inflation, but nothing has changed. In fact, food and housing prices are still going higher. Hi, this is Stephen K. Bannon, and I urge you to protect your savings from inflation by diversifying into a physical gold IRA from Birch Gold Group. To see how it works, simply text the word SAFEGUARD to 989898, and you'll get a free info kit on gold IRAs that will explain everything. Again, that's SAFEGUARD to 989898. There's no obligation or purchase required.
Welcome to Harley-Davidson of Utica. Walls of helmets up to 40% off. 25% off of all women's bling shirts. We finally got bikes in. Buy one, you get a free cruise for the month of October. And don't forget our chili cook-off, October 22nd. Welcome to Harley-Davidson of Utica. Walls of helmets up to 40% off. 25% off of all women's bling shirts. We finally got bikes in. Buy one, you get a free cruise for the month of October. And don't forget, come in and store your bike with us for the winter.
Meet Matt Castelli. He's not from here. A far-left downstate Democrat, never lived here before and has never even voted here. Endorsed by corrupt Kathy Hochul, Castelli supports a gun ban and every one of President Biden's tax hikes on the middle class. Matt Castelli is not a moderate. He's a downstate Democrat, way too far left to represent upstate New York.
Luckily, we already have upstate fighter Elise Stefanik. She takes on Biden's dangerous agenda, leading the charge to stop inflation, lower gas prices, and secure the border.
I'm Elise Stefanik. My top priority is getting results for you, delivering millions for our seniors, veterans, and local hospitals. I'll always fight for upstate farms, Fort Drum, and proudly back the blue. I'm Elise Stefanik, candidate for Congress, and I approve this message because I will always fight for you.
Paid for by Elise for Congress.
Everything is delivered these days. Whatever you need, you can place an order and it arrives right on your doorstep. It's about convenience. And at Bremer's Wine and Liquor, we're all about making things easy and affordable too. Let Bremer's deliver all your favorite wine and liquor directly to your door. We've got you covered. First, we guarantee the lowest price on the area's biggest selection of wine and spirits. Second, we guarantee the lowest delivery price too, and we promise to get it to you on time. Just visit bremerswineandliquor.com, place your order, request delivery, and it's done. Or save $5 off your first order with our mobile app. You just sit back, relax, and wait for your order to arrive, often the same day. You'll save money and save time. And who doesn't want that? Local delivery from Bremer's Wine and Liquor. It's convenience and low prices, guaranteed. So download our app or visit bremerswineandliquor.com.
WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
A couple of things out there that I find interesting here this morning. That Meghan Markle, man, she's just, she is hated in Great Britain. They just don't like her at all. Because, that she's, the conversation with Oprah and saying all the things about the Queen. Then the Queen goes and dies, which makes it even worse. The nerve. But it came out yesterday. It might have been part of her podcast. She's done a lot of stuff before she ended up hooking up with the prince. She did a Tostitos commercial, and she was always playing the hottie in the commercials.
Well, she wears it well, if I may say so.
She had a sexy role on Suits. And do you know that she was one of the suitcase carriers on Deal or No Deal?
Get out.
Yeah. The latest
And
episode.
she settled for a prince?
On the right. Think about it. On the latest episode of her podcast, Meghan Markle says she quit being a briefcase opening model on Deal or No Deal because she felt that she and the other women were portrayed as bimbos. Here she is talking about it.
I was thankful for the job, but not for how it made me feel. I didn't like feeling forced to be all looks and little substance. And that's how it felt for me at the time, being reduced to this specific archetype.
The word bimbo.
It was solely about beauty and not necessarily about brains. I was surrounded by smart women on that stage with me, but that wasn't the focus of why we were there. And I would end up leaving with this pit in my stomach, knowing that I was so much more than what was being objectified.
Yeah, I could actually sleep with a prince and travel the world.
Look.
Maybe that's terrible to say.
Wait, I don't understand, though. What did she think the job was?
Thank you,
Right,
Christine.
right.
Thank you, Christine.
Well, I thought I was going to be a businesswoman. You told me there'd be a briefcase involved. So I thought I would be thought of as a business executive.
Can you imagine her in college when she's, I don't know, does she have maybe a business degree or degree in any program? And they were like, well, what are you going to do with this degree? And she was like, look, I've proven myself at the academic level. I'm going straight to the game show circuit to open briefcases because I'm smart and I'm good enough.
I just feel like she's been, she's just the tell-all that she's doing, that she's done, and she's writing a book with her. I mean, I just think that's bad.
Well, and I think it's tell all everything everyone else did that was bad that I thought. It's not tell all confessions. It's tell all on everybody else.
Yes. Here she is actually opening up a suitcase. Now, just remember, she doesn't talk in this piece, just for the record.
Oh, it's a good one.
11, go.
Megan, open the case.
She did exactly what Howie told her to do. She opened the case.
And, you know, Howie wouldn't talk to a less attractive briefcase opener that way. He certainly had a different tone with her because she's attractive. He said, Megan, open the case.
Open the case. I believe here are some clips of her doing some other things. Check this out.
I didn't like feeling forced to be all looks.
Oh, will you shut up?
And little substance.
Okay. Apparently, we decided to add a little editorial there. So there you have that. When I say, though, she is hated, she is loathed, but I don't think she's liked in this country, to be honest with you. And her father, she's just been so bad to her father.
I don't know the story about her father.
I don't know either. My wife watches this stuff. Well, anyway, there you go. That's what's going on.
I think that the tide turned when the information about the book came out, because I think up until that point, people were willing to kind of see both sides.
I guess, I blame a little bit of, I guess Oprah's just out there trying to get an interview. You know, she was on Apple TV Plus, and she had that was her next adventure. And I don't think that was going all that well. So I think she thought this was going to be the big interview that was going to give her all the publicity she needed for her new.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, Apple has dropped her. She's no longer on Apple TV Plus, I don't think. Is there a COVID variant out there known as the nightmare variant that spreads like nothing else? No other COVID virus has spread. Dr. Kent Hall from MVHS is on the line right now. Doc, good morning.
Good morning. How you doing this morning?
Wonderful. You have two choices. In suitcase 1, we can talk about Meghan Markle. In suitcase 2, we can talk about the stuff we normally talk about.
I'll take 2.
I figured you would.
Davey,
Tell me your thoughts.
Davey, open the briefcase.
Yes, that's exactly what it is. It's the nightmare variant.
Are you reducing Davey to just a suitcase operator?
What do you think of this alleged nightmare variant that they say, in some cases, over a 24-hour period, was actually doubling?
Yeah, so that's one of the very concerning parts, is that the doubling time for this is very short, and much shorter even than BA.5, which is the variant that has been most prevalent in the United States for the last several months. And that itself had it was highly transmissible. What a low doubling rate means, or actually it's a high doubling rate, it's a low doubling time, means is that it is very contagious.
Yeah.
And so what that portends is that it is going to be able to spread very rapidly. The other aspect to it, which kind of, I guess, is why people may be labeling it the nightmare variant, is that it seems to be pretty good at evading the immune defenses that have been put together by prior infections, and also with many, or not many, but with the interventions that we have, especially the immune defenses that we've been giving to people.
Right.
The good news is, and this is tentative good news, so we don't know for sure, is that the new bivalent vaccine, which is made from BA.5, seems to provide some degree of protection, not as much as from BA.5 certainly, but some degree of protection. So I would strongly recommend people, if you haven't, to go and get that bivalent vaccine.
We did have a guy on the other day. Do you remember what his complaint was? Basically saying that we were told in the beginning that the vaccine was going to prevent spread. But then, apparently, in the EU recently, Pfizer was testifying, and they said, well, we knew it didn't prevent the spread. Now, I'm paraphrasing there. I'm sure that caught your attention. What specifically did they say, and did what Pfizer say surprise you?
So it didn't surprise me because the studies for the vaccine were not designed for did it inhibit the spread of the virus. They were designed to see if it protected people from getting sick, from having significant disease or severe disease. And those studies definitely showed that it did. Again, now we're talking about the first vaccine, and so that was what the studies were designed to evaluate, and they found that it was highly effective. We heard 90+% effective in preventing severe disease and hospitalization and death.
Okay.
And so it didn't surprise me that that was the answer to the question. I'm not sure where the assumption that it was going to stop the spread of the virus came from. I'm sure that probably somebody said that at some point in time as a misstatement, but that was never what I had in my mind about what the benefit of the vaccine was.
Well, Doc, I have to say this, and I think this is tainted a bit by politics, because what politicians say isn't necessarily what your doctor says. But there was a lot of this is now a pandemic of the unvaccinated, language like that, saying you can protect yourself and your family by getting the shot. You could protect the part about protect them from severe illness seems to my memory have been added afterward. But even when they talk, when the language was this is a pandemic of the unvaccinated, it certainly sent the message that if you got the shot, you were protecting yourself and stopping the spread.
Can I add a little something to it? Because I recall this, and we all know I have a memory like a what do you call that?
Exactly.
Yeah. Doc, I recall that you talking about the fact that we needed to get to a threshold of 75 to 80% of people that were vaccinated, because once you start to reach that number, that's when the vaccine will become most effective, because the more people who are not vaccinated, the more it will still spread to those who are vaccinated. So I think there's a whole combination of what we were told back then that might very well still be true in most cases.
Yeah, so I think what I would say. So first to Jeff, I think you're right. I think that we don't always choose our words correctly or specifically enough, and so it'll be subject to wider interpretation. I mean, the reality is that whenever you say something, somebody's going to hear something, whether it's the message that you intend to give or not. So yes, the message that this is a quote unquote a pandemic of the unvaccinated was a message that was given. It was not clear that what that meant is that the people who are going to be get severely ill, are most likely, again, because the vaccine wasn't 100%. So it's not that it's that the people that are going to get most ill are most likely going to be the unvaccinated. There are still people who were vaccinated who may not have had an appropriate immune response or a strong immune response. So I think that that's all very true. As far as the messaging in general, we and what you described, Bill, was the effect of herd immunity. So herd immunity is definitely that you can inhibit or actually stop the spread of a disease if you get enough people who are immune to it, because it doesn't have the ability to replicate. Again, remember, viruses, the only thing that they want to do is make more virus. And so if you get enough people where that effect is tamped down, then it's harder for it to spread. What has happened with this is that, the 75% right in that area that we talked about initially was based on the first COVID or the first SARS-CoV-2, and what's happened with these subsequent variants is that they've become more and more transmissible. So that percentage goes up because of the transmissibility.
Just a follow-up to that, and I also remember it was almost, and again, this is tainted by the media. By the media's presentation of it.
We were battling over the vaccine, and I think that, that probably played a role in.
But it was almost like breaking news that, wait a minute, so you can be vaccinated, but you can still get it, and you can still spread it? That was kind of an evolution of the story, where at one time before that, I think people thought, whether they were right or wrong, you say people hear what they hear, you're right. But people thought, if I get this shot, I'm protected. Not I'm protected from the hospital, I'm protected.
And, Doc, the other part of that is that we thought at one time, I mean, I really think we as a world thought at one time, if you get it, you're going to basically be immune. You'll have immunity at least for, 8 to 12 months. Mm-hmm. And then we started seeing people getting it 2 months or 3 months later. That changed things a little bit, too, it seemed.
No, I think you're right. There's a lot about this and we've talked about this over the last, several years now, is that there's a lot about this certainly early on that we didn't know. We know a lot more than we did, say, 2 years ago, but we still don't know everything about this. And one of the things that we continue to learn is that this virus has a pretty good way of evolving such that it is harder for the immune system to recognize on its second time around. And for reasons, again, I'm not a virologist, I'm not an immunologist, so I don't pretend to have the answer to that, but that is absolutely true. So the information that was being given out, it was I will say it was inaccurate, but it was not the intent. I believe the intent was not to deceive. The intent was to inform based on what we knew about viruses in the past. This virus is behaving in a different type of way than many other viruses, and so our knowledge is obviously improving, and that means hopefully that our communication is also improving. But what has happened now is that people have really lost trust in folks who were giving information, because the information that they were giving was inaccurate, not because they intended to deceive, I believe,
Right.
but
Yep,
because
I agree with that.
they were going with what their best thought was.
I think the difference between this pandemic and 1900 is there wasn't instant media at the time. And the problem that we had is they were being up there. Think of those updates every day. Fauci was on TV 10 times a day. You had Cuomo saying things. You had the president saying things. I think that there was just so much information that was being given that turned out to be not true, that we didn't know. Years and years ago, you wouldn't have learned step 1 through 20. You would have gotten it in gaps, and it probably would have been a little more accurate based on history.
Right, and I will tell you that very, very early on, as we were, even before it got to Utica, but as we were preparing for it, we were making course corrections and changes in terms of what we were, recommending to our staff and things that we were putting in place, based on the fact that things were coming at us very quickly, whether it was from the CDC, whether it was from the New York State Department of Health, everybody was, I think, doing the right thing, was trying to do the right thing. But I truly believe also that rapid fire sequence and the rapid course corrections, confused a lot of people. And again, I think it eroded some of the trust because, to your point, how can I believe what you're going to say? Because in 6 hours, 12 hours, 24 hours, you're going to tell me something else.
Right. A couple quickies before we let you go. Flu season. The theory is that there'll be COVID and the flu. What do you think about that? And the flu, it seems like each year the flu severity, the strain severity varies each year. And each new variant that comes along of COVID, I'm assuming could be the same way. And not that it, initially we kind of thought each new variant would dissipate. But that's not necessarily what happens with the flu. Can you just explain that?
Yeah, so again, the flu has been around for a much longer time than the coronavirus has, than this coronavirus has. And so, we have a lot more information about how it works and how the different HN, because those are the two areas that kind of define which flu virus variant we are dealing with. Mm-hmm. How they act and what their impact is going to be from a disease standpoint. So there's more information, obviously, about the flu because it's been around long.
Right. Yeah.
So what I would say about what they're calling the twindemic of the flu and COVID. So they're both respiratory viruses, and respiratory viruses, spread more readily, especially in the colder times, because people are inside and they're more confined and they're closer together. And so, are we going to see an uptick in the flu and an uptick in COVID? If you're asking me, I would say yes. We will definitely see that. Is it going to be something that we can manage? Yes, I believe that we can, because, again, even though these new variants are much more contagious, they continue to show that they do not cause as much severe disease as the earliest ones. What we don't know is if there's a slight uptick in the severity of disease compared to the last variant.
Right. Okay.
And we don't have that information yet.
But and I think I mentioned this earlier, when we say it's going to get better or it gets less deadly, we just mean it's not like that initial strain that we first saw that was, putting hundreds and thousands of people in the hospital and killing a lot of people as well, right?
That's correct.
Can I just one follow up on that? The doc mentioned twindemic, and I think this is an example of we have some medical information. It's interpreted or filtered by whether that be politicians or right-wing media or left-wing media or somebody looking to get clicks. Twindemic. The flu season is not a pandemic, right? It's not, Doc, it's not really not a twindemic. People shouldn't be running and hiding from the flu, should they?
No, and that's a very good point, Jeff. So, and
Well,
honestly,
you shouldn't
I
be trying to get
apologize
the
for
flu, I'll
actually
tell you
continuing
that.
to spread that. But no, the flu is not a pandemic. It is the flu is endemic during the flu season, which means that it is, very it's out there. And so but it is not like COVID is not a pandemic. You're right.
And then quickly, two more that I have for you. This stomach virus that is going around. When we were traveling, once again, I travel, get sick. It's just what it seems that we do. My daughter got it on a Sunday night. By Monday night, I had it, and it's a doozy. I saw that there was some school in New York State that actually had to close on a Friday because there were like 60% of their students were out because of the stomach virus.
Yeah, so this GI flu this GI bug is a virus. It is very contagious. It's so good. In this case, it's all about washing your hands.
Yeah.
And obviously not sharing utensils, et cetera, et cetera. It is something that is going to spread through. And again, colleges and like military barracks are the two things that you think of as, if something's going to spread, that's where it's going to spread.
Yep.
And so, thankfully it is relatively short-lived. You are pretty uncomfortable but you're only pretty uncomfortable for 2 or 3 days in general. And as long as you continue to drink fluids so that you can stay hydrated, then it usually doesn't cause any severe problems. Again, very old, very young can get very sick.
And I do want to say that I did a little case study my own because we were on vacation. Vodka doesn't make it better. I thought I'd throw that out there for those that were thinking, there's some medicine. Let me take some. It does not make it better.
I would offer that if you had nothing else and you wanted to wash your hands with the vodka, that would probably help.
That's a very good point. Thank you. I like how you're implying I don't wash my hands. Thanks for that. But and here's the weird thing is some will say, because you're such a germ freak and you're wiping everything down, your immune system is no longer as strong, and that's why you catch things. Do you buy into that?
No.
Okay, thank you.
That is an interesting thought, but no.
And then finally, Mike, this morning, I think one of the other big evolutions was the use of ventilators. Doctors suddenly realized they were blowing people's lungs out that were sick. Ventilators were doing more harm than good at the beginning stages of COVID.
Yeah, so again, we were approaching this as we did other respiratory diseases, and when people had severe respiratory problems, then we tended to support them on ventilators pretty quickly, and what we learned was that wasn't really helping.
Right.
And so now, we still put people on ventilators for it, but it is really a last resort.
Okay, all right. Okay, good to know, Doc. We appreciate it as always. Chief Physician Executive at MVHS. Dr. Kent Hall, thank you. Have a wonderful day.
Thanks, everybody. Please have a great day, and please be safe.
Thank you. Coming up, we'll speak with County Executive Anthony Pacini, the evil one. He'll be talking about how he's going to be shutting down the DMV as soon as Election Day is over. At least that is what is being reported, and I should clarify that. Do you think?
He's also closing the Utica DVW, by the way.
Oh, that's closing too. All right. Anything with 3 initials. He's still trying to figure out if he has the authority to shut down the IRS. I don't think he does, but he's going to work on it. Listen, your dreams begin at Adirondack Bank. Mortgages tailored for your needs. Your dream begins at Adirondack Bank. Mortgage options, a whole host of different options that fit perfectly for whatever it is that you need. Fixed, conventional mortgages, construction, FHA, VA mortgages, second home, vacation home, investment property, camp financing program, USDA rural housing loans. It's all there at Adirondack Bank. Whether it's your first home or a refinance, they have the product that suits your needs. Their team of professional and dedicated staff can help you choose the right mortgage for you. It's a local bank making local decisions. Begin online at adkbank.com. Adirondack Bank, member FDIC. All right. Let's do our free money question of the day from Hobica. A good one here this morning. Chance for you to win $106.90, Davey. And we're going with caller number 5. All right, caller number 5.
5.
Okay,
Sorry
that's
about
right,
that.
5.
I was reading something.
I saw that. Yeah, I thought I'd answer for you. 5.
That was a good. That's a really good impression.
Well, I'm only saying 5. It's like it's pretty easy.
5.
Was that me or was that Davey? I don't know.
Better.
Okay, caller number 5. Your chance to win $106.90. Good question on the way. They're all good. Well, I shouldn't even qualify that. Then Pacini coming up, 741 at WIBX.
Mark Rose's experience is unique. City Court judge in Little Falls for the last 14 years. Visiting judge for Utica. As a 30-year practicing attorney, Mark Rose has argued cases at all levels up to the Court of Appeals. He's served as a municipal attorney in towns and villages across New York's 5th Judicial District. And now Mark Rose is running for state Supreme Court to serve all of us. Experience, integrity. Mark Rose for state Supreme Court.
Paid for by the committee to elect Mark Rose for state Supreme Court.
Ladies and gentlemen, Louis Black.
Get ready for the comedy of Louis Black, the king of rant, performing live at the Stanley Theater in Utica, Friday, March 3rd at 8 p.m.
Why was their marriage so successful? It's because they never heard a word the other one said.
Louis Black with special guest Jeff Stilson. Tickets available through Ticketmaster or by calling the Stanley Theater box office, 315-724-4000.
And by God, you feel good for at least an hour and 15 minutes.
Louis Black at the Stanley Theater, Friday, March 3rd. Tickets now on sale.
Freshness made easy with Febreze Small Spaces.
Want continuous freshness that fights odors with no batteries and no outlets? Try Febreze Small Spaces. Ah, but what's a small space? To answer that, we brought in our lawyer.
Small spaces include, but are not limited to, bathrooms, closets, laundry room, kid room, pet corners, man cave, she sheds, most nooks, and all crannies.
There you go. Febreze Small Spaces is the world's most convenient. Febreze Small Spaces is super convenient and never stops freshening for 45 days.
Mm-hmm. Breathe happy, Febreze, la 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 la.
You wash your hands, you brush your teeth, but what about the nose? How do you clean your nose? With Navage. Navage uses powered suction to pull saline in one nostril, around the back of the nose, and out the other nostril, flushing out allergens, mucus, and germs. And it's why cleaning your nose, the body's air filter, is the next evolution in daily personal hygiene. People try Navage for lots of reasons. Sinusitis, colds, allergies, snoring, things that make it hard to breathe through your nose. But over time, they find that cleaning their nose makes them feel better, a lot better. Over 3 million Navage users have written more than 100,000 reviews, averaging 4.7 stars, saying, best product I've ever used, and amazing, I love my Navage. Navage helps you breathe better, sleep deeper, and snore less, but the biggest payoff is improved health. Navage is good personal hygiene and can help you stay healthier. At Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, Target, and online. Navage, N-A-V-A-G-E, clean nose, healthy life.
I'm Mary Finnegan, and I'm running for Oneida County Clerk. I'm the youngest of 7, and we still live locally. My dad was a World War II veteran, and my 95-year-old mom remains the backbone of our family. As a single mom, working 2 jobs, I decided to run for public office and kept the job of town clerk in Whitestown for the last 17 years. Now I want to take that experience and serve the people of Oneida County. In Whitestown, I pushed to modernize the town offices and submitted and won a grant that brought our records department into the 21st century. All of this, and we still kept the public's information safe. If you elect me clerk, I'll do the same for Oneida County. I also understand the importance of customer service, working well with others, and recognizing people's strengths. If elected, the DMV will be my top priority. Designated lines, DMV navigators, and good old-fashioned customer service is where I'll begin on day 1. If you need a county clerk who can hit the ground running on day 1, then I am the right person for the job. I'm Mary Finnegan, and I would so appreciate your vote this November for Oneida County Clerk. Paid for by the Friends of Mary Finnegan.
Welcome to Harley Davidson of Utica. Walls of helmets up to 40% off. 25% off of all women's bling shirts. We finally got bikes in. Buy one, you get a free cruise for the month of October. And don't forget our chili cook-off, October 22nd. Welcome to Harley Davidson of Utica. Walls of helmets up to 40% off. 25% off of all women's bling shirts. We finally got bikes in. Buy one, you get a free cruise for the month of October. And don't forget, come in and store your bike with us for the winter.
Finding the right Medicare plan? Oof, no easy feat. Kind of like those dances my granddaughter loves making me do. But then I found Walgreens FindRx coverage. Lets you compare plans online, over the phone, or in person. Made Medicare shopping so easy. Plus, I found plans with low-cost copays. I can get down with that. When you need to talk Medicare, Walgreens is here. Start shopping today at walgreens.com/Medicare.
WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
Hey, the official coffee of the Keeler in the Morning radio program is Daylight Donuts in New Hartford. And you might want to think about their lattes. They have like 14 different flavors of lattes. I think Chuck Sedella has selected each and every one of them specifically. He has gone out and said yes to this flavor, no to that one. One of the flavors that's always on their latte list is pumpkin spice. Mm-hmm. And we're in that type of season right now, right? Coffee, espressos, lattes, it's Seattle's best coffee. The drive-thru is lightning fast. You're in, you're out, you're on your way. It's Chuck and all the wonderful people at Daylight Donuts in New Hartford. Fresh bagels, fresh donuts, and breakfast sandwiches every day.
It's a great stop to add to your morning commute. It really is, with the coffee and the sandwiches. Oh, they're so good.
Here he is, Pat in New Hartford. Hello, Pat. Good morning.
Good morning.
So we're going to give you a chance to win from Hobica. It's been a few days since we've had a winner, so I hope you're going to break the losing trend here.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Okay, all right, here we go. Here is your question. Pop Rocks, invented by General Foods, first hit store shelves in this year of red, white, and blue. Ready, go.
Say 1976.
I believe that the clue was good for you. 1976.
Wow, winning.
Nice job. I just kind of felt like we haven't had a winner. I mean, we got to give his money away. And the year of red, white, and blue has to be 1976, at least in modern times. So, nice job. Congratulations, Pat. You walk away winning $106.90.
Oh, thank you.
Nice job, man.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
We're also going to throw some stuff at you. I got a table for 6 at Fat Cats Comedy Club. Looking for comedy? Check it out at fatcatscomedyclub.com, located inside Tony's Pizzeria in Washington Mills. Also, from the 72 Tavern and Grill at the Odd at the Adirondack Bank Center, it's back open, and I have a $25 gift card for the 72 Tavern and Grill as well. So you make out big time this morning.
Yeah. Well,
Nice.
That's great. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
All right,
Enjoy.
Stand by, Pat.
You know, so many generations don't appreciate history, and I'm sure my generation is guilty of this as well. But according to Gen Z, by the way, the country was founded in 1976. Not only was your clue a clue, it was the answer.
Yes,
They thought it was 1976.
Red, white, and blue. Yeah, you had to think it was like mid-70s, and I think that was a gift of a clue.
It was.
All right. So, Pat, I'm glad you won. Nice
Enjoy.
job. Enjoy that. Okay. And now it's time to speak with the evil one. They call him over at the county office building Darth Pacenti. And here he is, Tony Pacenti.
Wow, that's got to be the first time I've got an introduction like that.
Well, the great closer of DMVs and raiser of taxes, which isn't even true. I mean, you're always coming back with zero tax increase, right?
10 zeros in a row.
Yeah.
Decade of zeros.
Well, there you go. Congratulations. But I say this because there is and in full disclosure, I do commercials for Mary Finnegan's campaign. It's just my second job, folks. We have invited Marima, who is her opponent, on the radio to discuss. She has made it a requirement that I leave the studio when she comes in, and I'm not doing that. But she would get a fair interview, and I just have to reiterate that. But with all of that said, some accusations in her latest commercial. There's a lot there, and I thought we could kind of dig in a little bit on it. First of all, let's talk about the closing of the DMV. I seem to recall, Tony, that you were on this program the day after the DMV closed and said you were against the fact that it closed, and you asked that she please reopen the DMV in Rome.
I did, and we've gone through this time and again, and there was a time actually before the pandemic that the clerk wanted to close DMV, even like for a month or whatever, and I and you can talk to board members or legislators. I resisted that and said no, and I tried the best I could to keep it open at that time. Then the pandemic hit, everything changed or whatever. But when she closed this time, it was, again, but I keep getting blamed for closing it when the clerk closes it, and the clerk is the one responsible for the DMV. And this is something that, Ms. Oren, doesn't want to accept and just wants to use it as a campaign move to blame it on me. But I explained to her really at a board meeting, because she's come to several board meetings insisting that I and the board reopen DMV. And I said, look, there's only one person that can do that. That's the county clerk. And the clerk is a constitutional officer. It's actually different than my role in this, and it's equal to the sheriff and the DA. There's only one person that can either remove them from office or dictate what they do, and that's the governor of the state.
Okay,
it's really a different thing, and I explained to her this is the equivalent. Her telling me to open the DMV is the equivalent of me telling Sheriff Maciel where to put his patrols. I mean, it doesn't happen.
So, but Tony, let me ask you
that. With me, it doesn't happen with any county executive. It just doesn't work that way. Nor me telling the DA who to bring to a grand jury. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah. So, can I ask you though, because you had said just a few minutes ago that maybe Sandy DePerno before the pandemic or during wanted to close for a month, and you said the board and I resisted that. Explain that.
Well, because we resisted, and we tried, we tried every angle to, work with her to keep it open. But at the end of the day, Jeff, it's still her decision. At that time, she kept it open. But a month later, we were in the pandemic, and everything was closed. And what happened then is the state closed DMV.
Right.
So we didn't have to deal with it because they closed it was an executive order that all DMV offices.
I do have to say, though, that I think the difference here, and this was the point that I had brought up earlier, the difference here is if you were doing any pressuring so I guess you could pressure her. You could be like calling her every day and saying, is this the day you're going to reopen? Come on, reopen.
And we met with her repeatedly about this.
But I think that the interesting part is long before there was a race for county clerk, and that was in the forefront, you were calling for the reopening, and she didn't reopen it. So no matter how many times you tried to pressure her, it was ultimately her decision, and it didn't open until last week. So that's,
the
I guess,
argument,
the
argument
point.
also was that we were not funding it. Not true. Budget had all positions, all funded, all sufficiently funded. The argument was that we weren't paying enough. Well, that's an argument that pretty much every employee in every division of county government can make it every day, and I get that. But we're bound by negotiations and union contracts and civil service. So this is where I go back to. Look, people run for office. They should know. They should understand what they're running for and what the process is. And the surprising thing with Marina is she used to work for us. That's what's bizarre, is that she worked in county government. She was an assistant county attorney for a time. She should know the process. And as an attorney, that's one of her big promotions on her signs and everything she says. You would expect them to know, especially when it comes to the county clerk, what the role is. So it's unfortunate that and look, I know she's used my name in her commercials. She's attacked me on all of this. I've never understood. I've been in politics my entire career. I've never understood the running against someone else when you're running for an office against someone else.
Yeah,
and the flip side is, I understand when Republicans get mad at me for supporting Democrats, if that's the case, but I never understand when Democrats get mad at me for supporting Republicans, because I am a Republican and I do that. So, that's the other side of this game that, and Marina, when she first ran, like everything else, talked to me and said, no, if I win, I want to work together. Well, this doesn't really, show it, but
so
it's just a silly season.
Also, in her commercial, she did say that she would be the only candidate that will stand up to the county executive and stand.
She calls me by name.
To Tony Piceni and the county legislature. So, show me a scenario where the county clerk is going to stand up to the county executive or the county legislature because you're imposing or attempting to oppose something on the county or on the clerk's office. Basically, my understanding of the clerk's position is rules, regulations, laws are put in place, and all of the paperwork and all of the process, that all funnels through the clerk's office. There is no legislative action when it comes to the clerk's office.
No, the only legislative action, but it applies to all, even my own people. There is, this is why, this is the lesson in government that you hope that candidates especially are going to understand. And it's the basic lesson of there are three branches of government. There's the executive, there's the legislative, and the judicial. And everybody has a role. And the same, the role that the Board of Legislators has here is they create positions. That is their role. It's not mine. Now they do have that ability to say no, and they have in the past, but not in this case, never in these cases. And when they work with elected officials, especially in those offices that serve the public, all of us, I can't point to an area in which the board has said no in a critical time period. And this one, there is nothing to say no to. Her budget is completely filled with positions, funded positions, and the offices are equipped. So the argument about that I or the Board of Legislators is preventing the clerk from opening this office is just ridiculous, and it just has no merit. And so I don't know what the game is, or the game plan is here. Maybe she just, they're attacking me and the board is, I think people are smarter than that. I think the people know. Yep. And they've been through all of this. And, the other thing is this is an isolated piece because it covers one office because we still have another DMV office. But
I do have to say that I would think if there was one county clerk that stood up to Tony Piceni in the legislature, it'd be Sandy DePerno, because you were asking for her to reopen the DMV in Rome, and she refused to do it for 8 months.
Pretty much, right?
I mean, to me, that is somebody who should be given some credit for saying, no, I couldn't do it. I don't care what they tell me. It's not open until I say it can be open. And we actually spoke to someone recently who said they had some knowledge, and it did involve employees and getting certain employees to come back to work in order to reopen which is when she decided to ultimately reopen it. Interesting.
The other point here is, in terms of the employee shortage, it's across, I was just on, you were away, and when I came on after the budget bill, and we talked about this.
Yeah.
And I brought this out in my budget speech. We are in the crisis of finding employees in every single level of county government, from law enforcement to child protective to clerical to all of this. So we do have difficulty hiring. Now, that's not to say we can't hire. That's not to say there are people not available in certain areas, but it has been difficult. So that's been the clerk's, that's been Sandy's argument, in terms of DMV, that she's got vacancies that you can't fill.
Can you could you hold through the news break, and we'll take you quickly on the other side? Do you have a second?
Sure.
Just because I have a couple of listeners with some questions, and one is critical, and maybe it's critical of you, or maybe it's critical of me. I don't know, but I at least want to address it. So stand by. About 4 minutes. WIBX Utica Rome. It is 8 o'clock.
Will this make gas cheaper? I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. President Biden and his administration hope so.
It will sell the final 15 million barrels of 180 million out of the strategic petroleum reserves promised months ago to help stabilize crude markets. The president also plans to buy back oil to restock the reserves when prices reach a lower level, around $70 a barrel.
That's Fox's Gernal Scott. Now, the price of gas has fallen 7 cents the past week, but it's still 18 cents higher than a month ago, according to AAA, about a $0.50 more than we were paying last October. Inflation remains the top issue among voters in a new Fox poll, and
8 in 10 parents say they are concerned about what's being taught in schools. 73% say book banning is a problem, followed by 70% who think it's parents not having enough of a say. Among Democrats, 85% of those polled are most concerned about climate change, 84% about abortion policy.
Fox's Kristen Goodwin. Now, the Democrat focus on abortion comes after the Supreme Court ruling allowed Republican-led states to ban or restrict the procedure.
The only sure way to stop these extremist laws that are put in jeopardy women's health and rights is for Congress to pass a law.
And President Biden says if Democrats keep control of Congress, he wants that to be the first bill he signs next year. And that was a big issue in a heated Senate debate in Florida on WPBF last night. Democratic Congresswoman Val Demings, who's trying to unseat Marco Rubio, who was anti-abortion, said,
"You have been clear that you support no exceptions."
Rubio counters,
"Every bill I've ever sponsored on abortion, every bill I've ever voted for has exceptions. Every one of them does, because that's what can pass, and that's what the majority of people support."
They also sparred over her voting record and gun control 3 weeks before Election Day. A police officer is dead in Texas, killed in Carrollton last night, hit by a car while assisting another officer in a DUI investigation. The driver of that car also died. America's listening to Fox News.
Hey, a lot of you know that I learned how to use a firearm when I was 11 years old. I've been practicing my entire life, and people ask me all the time, "Hannity, what kind of gun should I get?" Well, now I'm telling them, go to Henry Repeating Arms. And I always tell them to start just by going to their website, henryusa.com. You're going to get a free catalog. Now, Henry has over 200 models of rifles and shotguns to choose from. They're made with the finest craftsmanship I've ever seen, and you don't beat their performance. Every one I have was accurate right out of the box and reliable ever since. Their company motto is made in America or not made at all. They have a lifetime warranty, family-owned business, and these folks are true patriots who give back to our military, our vets, our first responders, sick kids, you name it. They support gun safety, and they support our Second Amendment. So if you're in the market for a high-quality, American-made firearm, just go to henryusa.com. You get their free catalog, list of dealers, and free decals, henryusa.com. You'll love this company.
Good morning, WIBX. First news with Keeler in the morning news. Time is 8:03. It is Wednesday, October 19th. We'll have your full forecast coming up in just 2 minutes. 33 degrees. Your news is brought to you by Baird Private Wealth Management, a strong financial partner for 100 years. Visit bairdoffices.com/Utica for more information. Well, the Utica City School Board Superintendent Bruce Karam is on administrative leave after a 4-2 vote Tuesday night. The district said the person initially named as an employee by the district and later confirmed by Karam to be himself was placed on paid administrative leave pending an investigation. Karam says he'll pursue legal action and says that the leave is the result of a personal vendetta against him by Board President Joseph Hobaika. Hobaika says it is a personnel matter and would not comment on the case. Brian Nolan is now acting superintendent for the district. The community continuing to mourn the loss of a longtime force for positive change in the area after having quietly fought lung cancer for the last few years. 60-year-old Patrick Johnson lost his battle with the disease over the weekend. He most recently served as director of Save Our Streets, which was administered through the Oneida County DA's office, and the DA's office will continue to administer that program. A Utica native assuming duties as director and officer in charge of NAVCO. The change of office ceremony happened in Tennessee earlier this week. Valvo said he is the luckiest guy in the Navy. The Utica native joined the military 29 years ago and now serves as the U.S. Navy's public affairs officer. A middle school student charged with a crime after an incident happened on a school bus. Investigators say an incident involving the Clary Middle School student and another student occurred on September 28th. School officials were made aware of the alleged crime following day. The suspect was charged with 1 count of criminal attempted sex act because of the student's age. The case was referred to family court, and the identity of that student is not being released. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer starting a new push to limit the use of semiconductor chips manufactured in China. Schumer says Chinese companies with connections to the Chinese Communist Party have been selling chips to companies that work closely with the federal government. Schumer believes that could put national security at risk, as well as the data of New Yorkers. He's now working to add a provision to the National Defense Authorization Act that would increase demand for microchips that are made in places like upstate New York. This following the move by several semiconductor chip manufacturers to move their business operations to the state of New York. Your WIBX Weather Center forecast is brought to you by Country Suburban, your premier Lennox dealer. A slight chance of showers this afternoon, increasing clouds today, the high just near 48 degrees. A 20% chance of showers tonight, mostly between 11 p.m. and midnight. Mostly cloudy with a low around 37. Partly sunny on Thursday with a high near 50. Mostly cloudy Thursday night with a low around 33. Mostly sunny on Friday, the high near 59. Clear skies Friday night with a low around 41 degrees. Saturday, sunny, the high almost near 70, 68 degrees. Mostly clear Saturday night with a low around 46. And as Jeff Manaski says, the big news is Sunday, mostly sunny skies, the high near 69 degrees. Partly cloudy Sunday night with a low around 47. And as of right now, it looks like that sunshine will continue into the forecast on Monday morning. Your temperature brought to you by Harley Davidson of Utica, 33 crisp degrees. WIBX 950 AM and 106.9 FM news time is 8:06. And here's Jeff Manaski with sports.
All right, thank you, Christine. Appreciate it. The Yankees get a big win last night, Game 5 of the American League Division Series. They eliminate the Guardians, a final of 5-1. The Yankees advance in a quick turnaround. They are in Houston, and they'll play Game 1 of the American League Championship Series tonight against Justin Verlander and the Houston Astros. Jamison Tyone expected to start for the Pinstripes. Zach Wheeler tossed 7 scoreless innings, striking out 8. He allowed just 1 hit. The Phillies get the better of the Padres in Game 1 of the National League Championship Series. 2-0 the final, powered by solo home runs from Bryce Harper and Kyle Schwarber. The Brooklyn Nets and New York Knicks both open their NBA regular season tonight. The Nets will be at home against the New Orleans Pelicans. There we go. And the Knicks are on the road at the Memphis Grizzlies. A couple of news and notes in the NFL. The Giants signing wide receiver Marcus Johnson, and the Jets signed offensive lineman Connor McDermott to the practice squad. He was drafted by New England back in 2017. Smitty, I feel like I'm forgetting something. Oh, the Comets. The Monday night game that was suspended because of the power outage. They've announced a date. It'll be January 24th. The game will be resumed from where they left off. So that leaves a full period and a couple of minutes to still be played. The Comets were leading 2-1 when action was stopped.
And Davey, do you see what the line is on the Syracuse game? Number 14, Syracuse at Clemson, 12 noon on Saturday on ABC. The current line is?
At least it's double digits, right?
It's 12.5 points.
Oh, wow.
All the experts are saying Clemson will win but will not cover. I don't know. Could you imagine? That's all I'm saying. Could you imagine if Syracuse were to win this game? Boy, is that a game changer. And I had to bring Passetti to the other side of the news just so the county executive could brag a little bit on the Yankees. So,
Well, we sweated it out like everybody else did for a couple, for one game or two. But
I do think the rain out probably helped the Yankees a bit there.
Probably did last night,
Yeah.
or the night before. There's no question. I think it gave them the ability to go with Cortez. I'm still thinking they weren't sure about Tyone, although they're going to, he had a great year and he's going to start tonight. I think they were wanting to keep somebody fresh. So,
well, it's always nice to play the Astros because they're going to cheat. So,
this is true. I mean, all the it was like Costas drove me crazy in the broadcast, and and saying that the Yankees don't want to play the Astros. Absolutely, they want to play the Astros, and the Yankee fans want them to play the Astros because we want them to beat them.
Right, right. I mean, I'm not the biggest Costas fan when it gets.
No, he talked. I agree with Mike Francesa, but I also, he talked way too much, and really was like just over the top annoying.
But he is no Vin Scully by any means.
No,
never
nobody,
will be.
Or Kurt Gowdy.
Yep, I agree.
It was nostalgia for me. It reminded me of watching the World Series when I was young. I haven't heard Costas in a while. I loved his sound. And by the way, Christine, I completely disagree. I don't think he looks like one of those weird people fish who get plastic surgery done, right? And they look like a fish. I think he looks the same. He's just aged. He's he's 30 years older than he used to be 30 years ago.
He does not look 30 years old.
I will never forget the time I called him at home. We had a home number, and I was on K-Rock at the time. And we called, and he answers the phone. It's like, oh, my God. And it's like, hello. And he just sounded just like that, all nasally. Hello. I'm like, hey, Bob, we're calling from up near Syracuse and just wanted to say hello. And he went from hello to, well, hello, how'd you get my number? All of a sudden, he went into the Costas voice. Yeah, that call ended pretty quickly, shortly right after that.
So, Bill, can I a couple comments here I want to get to. One's for the county executive. This first one is about Tony, but it's addressed to you, I guess. It's funny how Bill conveniently left Tony Picenti off the list of politicians giving out false information daily about COVID. I'm not surprised at all.
Yeah, I don't know. Lance and Lee has this fixation that I just give you the cakewalk every time you come on, and I just don't necessarily remember you giving out medical information. Personally.
No, and I think I repeatedly said, look, when and I followed the experts, and I had Dr. Hall with me at times, and referred to him, and I had other physicians as well. I mean, from the very beginning, and my role was to try to keep people safe from the county's health perspective. I did that. I stand by that, and they tell me one piece of false information I gave out. If it came from the state of New York, you can point to that in terms of executive orders. But I'm not a doctor. In the same way, I don't claim to be a lawyer when it comes to certain legal issues. So I don't know what he means by that. But Lance, I don't know who he is, if he really exists. But I know that he's not a fan. So.
Yeah, he's always on you and me, Lance.
Yeah,
I don't get it. Yeah. I mean, go after the county executive, but me, really?
I do have another comment from Lance. I'll get to in a second, but I think it's kind of funny. But let me ask you this: this is about to the conversation we've had about being a department head, and it's your own department, and that's not run by the county executive. It says, can you ask Mr. Picenti if it was his order to not give unvaccinated county correction officers the overtime bonus that the vaccinated received? Was that something that went through your office?
It was.
And can you essentially explain what the decision was?
Well, the decision was that, as we were looking at, this at the end of last year when we were dealing with, overtime issues that, were huge because of vacancies and whatever, though we did, we were trying to keep, all of our people safe. And, there was a comfort zone, and we were trying to, really look at ways in which, we could address, the demands that were put on people. And, we looked at it, we're public service, and, we are the, the county agency that led this. So, part of that, came to not just the correction officers, but it was for others too, in other areas of county government in which we said, look, we're recognizing that you're going the extra mile here, but, the extra mile also is, a vaccination, because it does help. Again, I recognize, like everybody else, not foolproof. I got COVID. I was vaccinated, got COVID 3 times. So I was a perfect example of that. But at the end of the day, it was, look, we're, we need to have good faith on both sides here. We'll go the extra mile, but you also need to meet us halfway too. And I didn't think that was unreasonable. I still don't think it was. And that was a decision we stood by.
I have 2 more. Mike says the fact that Tony Picenti is all about closing the DMV, which, by the way, he just said that he is not. But I figured out Tony can dress up for Halloween because he's a Yankee fan. You could dress up as Mariano Rivera, the great closer. The great closer.
There you go. There you go.
The DMV. And then finally,
I just think, again, this is just, a ridiculous statement in terms of that office and everything else that goes on. I mean, it's the silly season, as you know, Bill. When it comes to politics, people say a lot of things. I told Jeff, when it comes to, saying my name in an ad, it's like I learned a long time ago from an old politician. As long as you spell it right and get it right, I'm okay with it.
Yep, that's exactly right. And then finally, that commercial from Marima also states that a vote for Mary Finnegan, you're voting for Tony Picenti's puppet. I don't know how you would address that, but I'll throw it out there.
I'm not even going to dignify that with a response. Okay. Look, I guess the only answer I would give is, there are other elected officials around, and Democrat and Republican. Go ask. Look, I have a great relationship with the sheriff, great relationship with the DA. Good relationship with Sandy. In all these years. Go ask her if I've, been if there's, but it's just not even worth dignifying with a response. I have department heads that work for me, and they follow what we put forth as an agenda. When it comes to the elected officials, you can ask the board of legislators, you can ask the electeds themselves. I'm not, I don't inject myself unless they want help with something, and we work together very closely. And that's how it works. Cooperation is different than. Is much different than being I don't know the term puppet or a dictator or whatever they want to use. It's ridiculous.
Okay. County Executive Anthony Piceni, thank you for your time.
Thank you, guys. We'll go Yanks tonight against Houston. So
can't believe I'm saying it. I can't believe it's coming out of my mouth. But go Yankees.
I know.
Go Yankees.
Listen, I rooted. I said go Mets. I rooted for the Mets.
You did.
Too, so.
Well, we all knew it was just going to.
I watched all those games too. I hadn't watched 3 Met games all year. I don't think.
The Mets. They followed history. Let's hope the Bills and Syracuse do not.
I know.
The Bills are off this week.
I understand that, but I'm just saying in general, Davey. Thank you for that. The Bills do have a bye this week. Tony, thank you. Appreciate it. Have a great day.
Okay. Yep. Have a great week.
You do the same. Got a break. We'll come back. Hold tight. We're going to go down the cheese road. Coming up. And in this case, it might actually be a little more of the bread road. We'll explain when we come back, 8:17 at WIBX.
Julie Groh Denton, longtime practicing attorney and law clerk in federal, state supreme, and county surrogate court. Julie Groh Denton, high school valedictorian, honors graduate from Bucknell and Harvard Law. Julie Groh Denton, candidate for state Supreme Court.
I'm Julie Groh Denton. Every community deserves to have judges in whom you take great pride. From an early age, my parents instilled a love of family and a strong work ethic. Born and raised near my dad's family in Rome, vacations and holidays with my mom's family in the North Country. My career has brought me to courtrooms and law offices across our region, all while raising 2 children with my husband, driving them throughout central New York for scholastics and sports. I know our communities. I value the importance of treating others with respect. I love the law, and I will make you proud. I ask for your vote.
Elect Julie Groh Denton to state Supreme Court. Paid for by the committee to elect Julie Groh Denton for Supreme Court.
The dark web can be like a restaurant for identity thieves.
Hi, ready to order?
I'll have the driver's license number.
Great, that comes with a home address or a birth date.
Ooh, both, please.
It can be dangerously easy to steal your identity. LifeLock by Norton makes it easy to help protect yourself. If you become a victim, we'll work to fix it. No one can monitor all transactions, but everyone can save up to 25% off their first year with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Identity theft protection starts here.
William Mattar, for the win. Insurance companies make more money by paying you less. You've been seriously injured in a car crash, so why should you settle for less money than you deserve? At William Mattar, we've handled thousands of serious injury claims. There are short time deadlines, so call now. Hurt in a car? Call William Mattar, 315-444-4444. Main Street, Williamsville, South State Street, Syracuse.
I'm Oneida County Sheriff Rob Mashel. Out of Touch Albany passed bail reform, despite almost every sheriff in the state opposing it, including myself. This makes us less safe. Corrections officers are in danger because of the HALT Act, and now new gun restrictions have sadly targeted law-abiding citizens. I will continue to fight these unsafe, unpractical, and even unconstitutional laws. I will also continue to help keep our communities safe. Our children are safer in schools because nearly every school district in Oneida County has a trained member of the Sheriff's Office on duty. In Utica and other municipalities, our deputies stand with police to assist them because of an increase in crime. The men and women of the Oneida County Sheriff's Office are making a positive difference. I'm Rob Mashel, and law enforcement is my family. Your safety and their safety matters to me. This November, please vote for me to continue as your Oneida County Sheriff, paid for by the Friends of Rob Mashel.
Discover the difference that comes from a financial partner committed to building better tomorrows. I'm Jim McGuire with Baird Private Wealth Management in Utica. As a provider of trusted financial services in Utica, Baird is committed to making the future brighter for you and for our community. That's why we support local organizations like the Women's Fund of Herkimer and Oneida counties and the Capitol Theater in Rome, because we care about Utica. Discover the Baird difference. Visit BairdUtica.com.
Warner Sales and Service, building relationships, building trust.
Contractors and landscapers, rent your way to greater profits with Bobcat equipment from Warner Sales and Service. From heavy work right down to the fussy stuff, Bobcat loaders, excavators, and a wide variety of attachments will handle all the tough jobs like lifting, digging, pushing, carrying, as well as the more precise applications, grading, and leveling. You'll be able to take on more jobs and get your current projects done with Warner Sales and Service. Whether it's the tough lifting and digging or the more precise work with attachments, you name it, Warner Sales and Service has the Bobcat rental to make sure your projects get done. Tough jobs demand tough equipment. So when you have a tough job, run a Bobcat machine. So stop in today at Warner Sales and Service, just off of Route 365 between Rome and Verona, and at WarnerSS.com.
Warner's, where quality still counts. At Warner's.
Hey, Mazda continues to win awards for performance, safety, and reliability with an increasingly loyal following of drivers. That includes me. I love my CX-9. Many out there enjoying Mazda's incredible engineering. Mazda's premium design, fit and finish, and paint process is extraordinary, while Mazda's premium interior redefines luxury. As they say, let's make your deal on a Mazda and see why it's always easy to do business with the family-owned and operated Steet Pawnee Mazda. Steet Pawnee Mazda. Ricky Z says, come on in and let's make your deal on a new Mazda. Steet Pawnee Mazda on Commercial Drive in Yorkville.
WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
Whoa. We have some bread in the studio. Wow, that was just something. Dan, good morning. Come on up to the microphone there and say hello.
Hey, Bill. Nice to see you and Jeff again.
Good to see you. Let's describe. I'm going to try to get a nice shot of this here. Let's describe what we are looking at here.
Bill, today's our first official day with rolling out a line of breads at the Hemstraat Bakery. Hemstraat has celebrated 102 years and had a long history of breads, and now we had just a week ago Ernesto Gonzalez join us. He kind of has my path from New York to Utica and back and forth every week, and he's brought his career up to us. We started to come out with a range of breads. They're super high quality.
Boy,
so glad to have Ernesto on our team.
Beautiful. Ernesto, you're responsible for this?
Yes.
All of these carbs that you brought into the studio for us that look so delicious.
Thank you.
What's your history? You worked with some pretty big people, I believe.
Yeah, I used to work for Balthazar Bakery and for B&B, Battalion Bastianish Corporation.
Okay, wow. And now you're up here making some delicious breads. What are we talking about? Which breads are which?
Go ahead, Ernesto.
We have baguettes. We have multigrain. We have Italian, rye bread, ciabatta, and some focaccia rolls.
Okay. Is that what that? What is that?
That's
French
focaccia.
French focaccia.
Yeah, we all just jumped all over this when Ernesto came up last week. I said, Ernesto, the first thing you got to do is just kind of play with the oven, get used to the environment, and see what how it all works. So he said, oh, all right, I'll just go and get started. And we went back to the office. Then we came back out, and we started seeing things like this fougasse for the first time and a range of great breads. I think if you knew a little bit more about Ernesto, he had great acclaim for his skill in baking.
Yeah.
But Del Posto, which is one of the restaurants in the empire of the Boston IH Batali group, won Best Bread Program or Best Bread Basket, and that was Ernesto's work. So we're looking to bring that level of quality to the Hemstraat Bakery.
And Ernesto, what kind of patience does it take to create these breads, or is it just all in the expertise?
I mean, you have to love what you're doing. You know?
Yeah.
And that's what I've been doing all my life.
Nice.
You know, that I'm not going to say it right. The bread right there that looks like the tree. That looks like a Thanksgiving centerpiece, not something that you would eat. And maybe it's both.
And there's Bella in her head. She's already got a box that's going to go in with a window with tissue paper. And we do every household should have one of these with rosemary or thyme on it. And the process is you pass it around the table and everybody breaks open a piece.
I see. Okay.
Now, Bill, you're on a carb diet, or can you participate?
Well, I'm on I'm trying to do the best thing I can do the right thing. It's very difficult.
You could look at them.
I'm witnessing this being warmed up with butter, and it looks really, really good. Butter, excuse me?
And cheese.
And cheese, yeah. Butter and cheese and a little warmth, yeah. Looks really, really good. Now, these breads are available every day?
Starting today, yeah.
Okay, all
We're
right.
going to have a range of breads and rolls available 7 days a week, freshly baked every morning.
All right, that's awesome. Wow. And then if you can, just talk about some of the other things that you guys are doing, including the Weekender.
Yeah, we have the Weekender program with Rome Sentinel. It's a collection of all things Hemstroughts and artisanal, cheese, breads, pastries, and it's enough for the weekend. And there's 3 sizes, Bill.
Yeah.
Small, medium, and large. It's a romantic couples weekend or a small group or a large family party. Everything is in one box, and that's great. And then we just took on the assets of the Utica Bagel Company. So that's our next project, and maybe next time, if we're good enough to be invited back, we'll come bearing bagels and lox and cream cheese.
Oh, I like that as well. So, all right, well, great. And again, the charcuterie portion of all of this as well. If you just wanted to put together something for a party or for a get-together, just for the weekend, you guys have all of this stuff available.
Yeah, just come into our store or go online. Also, Jeff is showing you some great focaccia. That's one of the signature things that Ernesto makes for us now. And they'll be really great. And for you, Bill and Jeff, we know you like Briat Savarin, the triple cream.
Yes,
So
love
you have
that.
to bring that in. And we know you like it, Bill, because people keep coming to our store and they say, that cheese Keeler likes Brillet
That
something.
is so good, yeah.
they get Keeler and Brillet. We're like, okay, here, this
Perfect,
one here.
yes.
And what we wanted to bring you guys today is a 12-year cheddar from Wisconsin.
Okay.
We've never gotten that far down the age scheme.
Wow.
But it's a nice block of 12-year-old cheddar. And then, of course, another soft golden oldie from Italy, Robiola Bocina.
Okay.
Which is cow's milk with cheap cream in it. So it's really soft, and it'd be perfect with these breads.
Love it, love it, love it, love it.
On this bread here, I have to say, I'm glad you're not doing the carb thing because I'm taking all of that with me. That looks so good.
That is.
And there's roasted red peppers on there. Is that typical? Every time I hear focaccia bread, I never think with the cheese on there and the roasted red peppers. I never see that.
We're going to change it up. Bella and Ernesto were speaking this morning, and it's going to go as far as their creativity allows.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
Delicious.
All right, great job, guys. Thank you. Anything else you want to add?
I think we covered it, Bill. We've
Yeah.
been here before, and just look forward to seeing more people coming in,
All right.
looking for cheese and breads and all that we offer.
Hemstroughts and artisanal cheese. Thank you very
Bill.
much.
Thanks,
And
Jeff.
you had these breads that are just beautiful, beautifully delicious. 8:28. We'll break and come right back at WIBX.
In Albany, the only political party that matters is the majority party.
I'm Assemblywoman Mary Ann Buttonshaw, and I'm a member of the Assembly's majority. As a member of the Assembly, I do more for the Mohawk Valley. More funding for Utica, Rome, and Whitesboro schools than ever before. Almost $500,000 for local fire departments. $125,000 for the town of Deerfield. More funding from Albany means a stronger Mohawk Valley. Wolfspeed means good jobs. The Nexus Center means more recreation and tourism opportunities. Griffiths Business and Technology Park assures our future in high-tech economy. As a member of the Assembly, I brought your voice and your values to the state capitol and brought back expanded youth and senior program funding for our cities and towns and $1 million to assist our youth in crisis at the House of Good Shepherd. Given the chance, I'll do more. That's why the Friends of Mary Ann Buttonshaw paid for this message.
Your bill
bills are due on the 13th, but you don't get paid until the 15th. Sound familiar? Life doesn't always wait for payday. Get the NetSpend All Access account for your everyday mobile banking needs and get paid up to 2 days faster with direct deposit. Get started today at netspend.com and go beyond banking. Banking services provided by an account established by Pathward NA member FDIC. Faster access based on comparison of our ACH processing policy versus posting funds at settlement. Deposit account opening is subject to registration and ID verification. Terms and costs apply.
Julie Grow Denton, longtime practicing attorney and law clerk in federal, state supreme, and county surrogate court. Julie Grow Denton, high school valedictorian, honors graduate from Bucknell and Harvard Law. Julie Grow Denton, candidate for state Supreme Court.
I'm Julie Grow Denton. Every community deserves to have judges in whom you take great pride. From an early age, my parents instilled a love of family and a strong work ethic. Born and raised near my dad's family in Rome, vacations and holidays with my mom's family in the North Country. My career has brought me to courtrooms and law offices across our region, all while raising 2 children with my husband, driving them throughout central New York for scholastics and sports. I know our communities. I value the importance of treating others with respect. I love the law, and I will make you proud. I ask for your vote.
Elect Julie Grow Denton to state Supreme Court. Paid for by the committee to elect Julie Grow Denton for Supreme Court.
Truck crash? Choose William Mattar, the largest motor vehicle accident firm in the state. After a crash, an investigation may need to be started immediately. So call now. When you visit WilliamMattar.com, you'll see that motor vehicle accidents are what we do. Truck crash? Call William Mattar. 315-444-4444, South State Street, Syracuse. 315-444-4444.
Little Falls Lumber has everything you need to get your home ready for fall and winter. With colder weather coming, consider replacing your windows and doors with a more energy-efficient option. They also carry a wide variety of lumber, roofing, siding, trims, and more for your fall projects. With 3 convenient locations in Little Falls, Syracuse, and Schenectady, Little Falls Lumber is there wherever the job takes you. Stop in today or give them a call, 315-823-2470, or visit littlefallslumber.com.
I'm Marima Smagic-Oren, and I'm running for Oneida County Clerk. I forced the Oneida County political establishment to reopen the Rome DMV. If I can cause this kind of change as a candidate, think of what I can do as county clerk. The Rome DMV is reopening because I held Tony Picenti's feet to the fire by going to the Oneida County Legislature 3 times. Now, he's afraid my opponent is going to lose because she did not. Picenti tried to close the Rome DMV in 2012 and has been choking it ever since. A leopard never changes its spots. The truth is that, after the election, Picenti will try to close the Rome DMV again. I won't let that happen. I won't stop fighting for Rome. If Mary Finnegan is elected, she will be Picenti's puppet. Unlike Mary Finnegan and the rest of the Oneida County establishment, I put people over politics. That's why the Friends of Marima Smagic-Oren paid for this message.
WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
All righty, with I don't know, there's a funny smell of carbs in the studio here. I don't know if you can smell that, Coach, but
oh gosh, yeah,
it is here, and what they are doing over there is so good at artisanal cheese.
It is delicious. And they're making it fresh every day. This bread is so fresh and so delicious. Really for any occasion. And like I said, I'm not going to pronounce that type of bread the right way, but that's like, you could literally have that as a Thanksgiving centerpiece and put food on it that people could break off as it's going around the table. Delicious.
Blaise Fagiano in studio right now, head coach UC Pioneers. And you guys are off to a 6-0 start.
How about that?
How about that?
How about that? Last year we were talking about our Believe Bowl, I believe.
A
few weeks back, and how quickly the season goes. But
it is incredible, right? We're already halfway through the season.
Crazy. Four games left in the regular season.
Wow.
How about that?
That is really making me a little nervous. It'll be Thanksgiving, and Manasseh's going to have a bread centerpiece before we know it.
Well, the whole idea is we don't want to go home for Thanksgiving. All right,
That is true.
That's the plan. That's
so
the plan.
let's talk about where you are right now. I believe in the latest rankings, and what does that really mean? It's almost just a nod of respect. But you guys are just outside the top 25.
Yeah, in the D3Football.com Bowl, we're the 26th team getting 43 votes. So we're just outside of it.
Okay.
And then there's another college football poll I just saw at social media recently, and they had us in the top 25. I forget where we were.
Yeah.
And it just helps put Utica University on the map, Utica football on the map. And you're right, it's a nice recognition.
It is
that you have to earn. You certainly have to earn.
You have some top performers obviously on this team. Talk about a few of these guys.
Well, anytime you get an Empire 8 Player of the Week, it's one of the best conferences in the country. So this past week we had both an offensive and a defensive one. We probably could have even had 3, but Jimmy Warren was Defensive Player of the Week. He was with another player, but he had 11 tackles, 3 sacks.
Wow.
And the 3 sacks, you have to understand, Rapport wasn't throwing the ball much, right? They came to our place looking to run the ball. And so the very few times he did throw it, for him to have 3 sacks was huge. And the credit to him, the D-line and our secondary and their coverage. And then Braden Zenilovic, our quarterback, was Offensive Player of the Week. Solo in the Empire 8. And he could have been with Nate Palmer. Nate had another huge day. I think it was 8 catches, well over 100 yards. Continues just to be exciting guy to watch out there, our guy from VVS.
Do you have explain how this is all going to work going forward? You have 4 games left. Biggest challenges, and then looking forward to a potential bowl game here.
Yes, potential postseason, right? You're always working for that week 11, whatever that might look like, And we've been to some of those ECAC bowl games, and they're great. We never hosted one. Obviously, our football program's never been to the NCAA tournament, and the way to get in the NCAA tournament in Division III, first and foremost, is to win your AQ.
Okay.
So this Saturday, we're looking for. I know we're getting into hockey.
Yeah,
I get it.
Hockey's, it is.
Utica hockey, Utica Comets. I get it.
It's happening.
You'll see me and my family at supporting Coach Heenan and the guys. But
yes.
This Saturday at 1, we're hosting Cortland. Cortland State is 6-0, and we are 6-0. Cortland, I believe, is I think they're 11th in the country right now, and it's a huge game. A huge game. We had a big victory against Brockport State this past weekend, and those two teams have won the Empire 8 the last 5 years.
That's what I'm saying. That was an enormous win. So
it was different too. It was the first time, for whatever reason, we've been starting slow.
Yeah.
So to go up 21-7 against Brockport was huge. And very impressed, particularly in how our offense played against a very, very good Brockport defense.
Yeah.
And how our defense stopped the run, because they came with a mission to run the football, and our defense really stepped up.
This is a major showdown Saturday. 6-0, 6-0. They're, I think, 12th or 13th in the country, as you said. They're up there. You guys are just on the outside of the top 25. You need a loud house this weekend.
We do. And I give Cortland a lot of credit. Obviously, a little pride there. Their head coach, Kurt Fitzpatrick, was my offensive coordinator not too long ago, and was the former head coach at Morrisville.
Oh, the storylines make it even better.
Moved on to Cortland, and in his first year there last year, they went 10-0. And his D coordinator was Laz Morgan. The little theme here, we're really proud of our Utica coaching tree, right?
Yeah.
So when they went 10-0 last year, his D coordinator Laz Morgan's a Utica alum, and played and coach for me. And Laz currently is head coach at Buff State.
Wow.
Right.
Wow.
So I'm one thing is I'm getting older.
Yeah.
A little more gray in the goatee, right?
Yeah,
No, but,
I get it.
I tell you what, but so it's certainly a huge game this Saturday. Glad it's at our house, and continuing. When you have something special and the kids really believe in really 1 week at a time, and one game at a time, and there's cliches in sports for a reason. These guys really do believe that. Hey, it's 1 week at a time, one game plan at a time. We're already into it. Had a great practice yesterday, and certainly it's going to be a great weather day, and we need to pack the gate, as we say, Gaetano Stadium. Shout out to Mr. Gaetano, who passed recently, into the family. Just so supportive of all things.
What a great
Utica.
legacy to leave behind, though.
Just a class act. Act. And so we're always proud to play in this stadium.
I want to say that it just shows you Utica football is how old now?
So this is we started in 2000.
Okay.
So 22 years if you count the COVID
in 22
year.
years, and here you are in a 6-0 showdown with 6-0 Cortland, which has always been a sports school and is is a school that has a lot of history, and you're right there. You're now there's nobody calling Utica the new football program anymore. This is one of the top football programs in D3.
Well, I appreciate you saying that, and we've worked hard to get to that point and to get to that recognition. And you're right. There's household names like the Cortlands and Ithacas, and I know they're all excited about their playing their Cortica Jug, which I played in as a player and as a coach.
Sure.
They're playing in Yankee Stadium and all that, and that's great for all. But I know the Pioneers are looking forward to 1 o'clock Saturday and getting a chance to play a nationally ranked team. And you're right, they have a ton of history. I mean, you're talking over 100 years of Cortland football and coaches all over the state that played and coached at Cortland. So, excited about their athletic director is an Ilian guy.
Oh, really?
Doing a great job. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's
awesome.
It's a big. All right, you want people to come out. It's important to everybody to get out. You can feel free. The weather is going to be really nice on
Football
Saturday.
weather.
Definitely football weather.
Oh,
And
they're saying
even
60, 67, 68 degrees Saturday.
Even a little warmer than football weather, but great for tailgating, I'll tell you that.
There's enough time that you can come watch us play Saturday and then go watch hockey Saturday night. All right?
Yep,
Plenty
no
of
doubt
time.
about it.
Plenty of time in the day. It's a great day for your family.
And tickets still available for the game?
You can get tickets are at the gate, $5. And we do have 2 games left at home. We'll be back November 5th for our GPO Federal Credit Union Veterans Day game, and it'll be our senior day.
Nice.
And we're going to honor. It's been interesting to see which of my seniors want to celebrate senior day. Who's coming back next year because we're still into the COVID eligibility.
Right.
So we have we have 32 seniors right now. I think it's only 20. Are going to be recognized on senior day because many of them are going to come back for their 5th year.
Yeah,
that's great.
Coach, congratulations on so far, but we want to go all the way. How does is it so? If you win, it's an automatic conference. It's an automatic.
Automatic bid.
Yeah,
of the 32.
okay.
Yeah, and there's only and actually this is my 2nd year serving on the National NCAA Division III Football Committee, which was quite an experience. And the hardest part of that committee is after all the AQs settle out, is who are the 5 Pool Cs, right? And the Pool Cs are what teams can get in that maybe didn't win their conference. Maybe they're 9-1, that type of a thing, right? So obviously someone on Saturday is going to be 9-1, and if they were able to win out, would be a very strong Pool C team. From my experience. Last year that team was Johns Hopkins, and they actually were from our region and went on to do really well. So, it doesn't get any easier. We're on the road at Morrisville, who right now is 5-1, and their only loss is to Cortland. We're home for Alfred, and then we're on the road to St. John Fisher. So, it certainly doesn't get any easier in E8 play.
I do want to ask you just what happens. I know there's been a lot of talk about the school moving up in terms of, and I know with hockey they would go to Division I. What would happen with football in that case? Would you go to?
No, I don't mind you asking. And I think if the university did make that decision where we wanted to go Division I in hockey, all of the rest of the sports would have to be Division II, so that we could play up. And the reason why that works is there is no national champion for Division II hockey, right? So there's the exception to where then you can play up in hockey.
I see.
We've tried over the years for the exception to stay Division III and everything else and be Division I of hockey, right? Like Union, like St. Lawrence, like RPI, and for whatever the reason, the NCAA doesn't want to change on that.
Interesting.
Right? So,
What they did for the other guys.
Well, I mean, they've been grandfathered.
Okay.
Right? They've been grandfathered. Hobart lacrosse, so they've been grandfathered. So that, to me, what
I understand.
If our institution wants to do that, what's the big deal? So,
right.
At Utica, we don't like people to tell us how to run the show. Particularly our current administration. So, all right, fine. You're going to tell us no. We're going to find another way. Right? Never stand still. So, that would be the scenario. Still, I believe it would be a couple years out. If we were to make that move, but certainly. As our president said when we announced wrestling and gymnastics, we're always looking at, how we can improve, our profile, being a university now. And certainly I think it would be very exciting opportunity if that were to happen.
I do think the gymnastics edition would be
huge.
Is going to be huge. And wrestling, bringing wrestling back is so many schools got rid of wrestling back at a time when I believe there was a male-female issue in college sports, and a lot of schools dumped wrestling. Love to see that coming back.
Right. That'd be a whole other hour conversation on Title IX and gender equity. You never like to see teams canceled.
Right.
You certainly want to see the women team supported. But, first and foremost, wrestling is huge in the Mohawk Valley.
It is.
Number one.
Yeah.
We've had national championship wrestlers at Cortland and Ithaca and Cornell and all over. And so, when you're looking to find ways to compete for students, wrestling teams are 30 to 40 student athletes. Gymnastic teams are close to 30. And we have Valley Gymnastics, a great training facility right down the street. So I think those are certainly exciting things for the university.
And the fact we have a lot of kids who end up having they're in gymnastics, and for them to really compete after they get a little bit older, they've got to travel.
Tickets. We got season tickets for the next 2 years for the women's wrestling program. So he's going to be sitting front row. So he's looking forward. He's looking forward to that.
Elmira is the first Empire school that has a women's wrestling. That's what I understand too. So all exciting stuff. For
we've always had in wrestling. I wrestled through high school. I was horrible, but I love the sport. Anybody who wrestles, you love the sport. There's something special about wrestling. But there's always been like a rogue female who's competing. And what I've found that's been interesting is over the years, the cases where there's a young lady who is an awesome wrestler, who's kicking tail, that it seems to be increasing every year. Women's wrestling. Pretty.
I like all the Division I football coaches talking about being multiple sport athletes and the different things that you learn now. Instead of this whole he only plays basketball, or my son or daughter only plays baseball. And so, the things you learn from wrestling, man, it's one-on-one.
It is.
It's like pin or be pinned.
Yep.
And that's different than what you might learn from track or lacrosse in a different sport. And just being able to compete. So I know a lot of football coaches, a lot of us love recruiting wrestlers.
Yeah.
That's
think about wrestling. It's not like you can you get in trouble. You're looking at the lights and you pass the ball off to somebody else. You're on your own, and it is all about survival.
I just want to say I love your enthusiasm, man. 6-0. It's Cortland this weekend at the gate, Gaetano Stadium, on the campus of Utica University. A 1 p.m. start. 6-0 versus 6-0. You guys are right on the brink of a national ranking. Good luck, and I hope that place is going nuts on Saturday. I think Carter and I might be tossing the football around in the stands on Saturday afternoon.
Awesome.
Pretty cool.
Love being here. Appreciate it, guys.
All right, Coach. Thank you.
Fear the Moose.
Keep it going. 4 games left. Got a break. 8:47 at WIBX.
Welcome to Harley-Davidson of Utica. Walls of helmets up to 40% off. 25% off of all women's bling shirts. We finally got bikes in. Buy one, you get a free cruise for the month of October. And don't forget our chili cook-off, October 22nd. Welcome to Harley-Davidson of Utica. Walls of helmets up to 40% off. 25% off of all women's bling shirts. We finally got bikes in. Buy one, you get a free cruise for the month of October. And don't forget, come in and store your bike with us for the winter.
I'm Oneida County Sheriff Rob Mashel. Out of Touch Albany passed bail reform despite almost every sheriff in the state opposing it, including myself. This makes us less safe. Corrections officers are in danger because of the HALT Act. And now, new gun restrictions have sadly targeted law-abiding citizens. I will continue to fight these unsafe, unpractical, and even unconstitutional laws. I will also continue to help keep our communities safe. Our children are safer in schools because nearly every school district in Oneida County has a trained member of the Sheriff's Office on duty. In Utica and other municipalities, our deputies stand with police to assist them because of an increase in crime. The men and women of the Oneida County Sheriff's Office are making a positive difference. I'm Rob Mashel, and law enforcement is my family. Your safety and their safety matters to me. This November, please vote for me to continue as your Oneida County Sheriff, paid for by the Friends of Rob Mashel.
Ladies and gentlemen, Louis Black.
Get ready for the comedy of Louis Black, the King of Rant, performing live at the Stanley Theater in Utica, Friday, March 3rd at 8 p.m.
Why was their marriage so successful? It's because they never heard a word the other one said.
Louis Black with special guest Jeff Stilson. Tickets available through Ticketmaster by calling the Stanley Theater box office, 315-724-4000.
And by God, you feel good for at least an hour and 15 minutes.
Louis Black at the Stanley Theater, Friday, March 3rd. Tickets now on sale.
WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
All right, a couple of things I should tell you about, and I don't know. I had some frost on the windshield this morning. Fred F. Collison Sons Heating, Cooling, and Insulation. Are you ready? Is your home or your business ready to go when it comes to your heating needs? And man, do you want to be efficient this year with prices going through the roof? You do not want to be in a situation where your home is not insulated well and you're losing heat, or you have an inefficient furnace. They can come in and do an audit for you, really show you where you're losing money, and there are thousands of dollars in rebates out there, and they can help you get into one of those programs. Fred F. Collison Sons, new office in Syracuse for insulation, and they have you covered 24/7. If you have turned on your furnace, your heating system, and you're feeling like there's an issue, now's the time to reach out. Fred F. Collison Sons, Heating, Cooling, and Insulation, Yorkville, Rome, and now with an office in Syracuse. Jeff, I'll just rely on you to hit the topics here. On the line right now is Ken Belkin, our legal expert this morning through Fox News. Ken, good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
So we'll throw out topics, and you tell us your thoughts. Davey, thank you. City of Jacksonville, topic number 1, won't enforce sign requirement for sex offenders on Halloween due to a federal lawsuit. What do you think?
I mean, talk about giving you the creeps on Halloween, right? The reality is that these people that were forced to have a sign that said no candy, no treats on their home, letting trick-or-treaters know not to come to their home because they were convicted of sex crimes and forced to register on the sex offender registry. And this was part of that penalty. The fact of the matter is, there was a Georgia lawsuit involving First Amendment claims, free speech claims, saying you couldn't compel people. It was a deprivation of their rights. But let's, look at it here. The fact is these people were convicted. You can lose some of your constitutional rights upon conviction, and they were convicted. They either pled guilty or they were convicted after trial and presumably afforded every constitutional protection up until that point.
I know that here it is voluntary, and you can put a sign up in your window. Basically, you're putting a sign up on your door that says, I am a convicted sex offender. Don't come here. If it's voluntary, who in their right mind would be like, I'm just going to advertise this fact? I can't imagine anybody would do that. So your take on it is, if it's a part of your sentence, this is part of your sentence. Should be, right?
You can absolutely lose rights. And there's a reason that legislatures enacted these laws regarding registry on a sex offender registry. It's because we recognize this crime is one born of compulsion. Some of these people cannot control their urges. It defies logic. There's no intent. They have no control over themselves, and there's a high recidivism rate for these types of offenses. They're more likely to go out there and recommit these crimes.
It would seem to me that they would have a better chance on a federal lawsuit. And again, please understand here to the local listeners, I'm not advocating for this, but, in New York, you are civilly confined after you serve your sentence. You get released, and then they pick you up on a bus, and then you live in like a community home with several other sex offenders. I feel like that's a stronger basis for a lawsuit than this sign thing.
Yeah.
Well, some of these guys may not have even served time. You can get convicted of a sex crime and be put on the registry and not actually serve time and be sentenced to probation,
I've always, the kid who's 18 years old and he has relations with somebody who's
17,
almost 17. In New York, it's 17 in a day, which makes it legal. But, so it must be a 16-year-old. You kind of feel bad. They're all in the same circle. In 10 years, they might marry somebody who's 10 years younger than them. But, these cases where they are severe, I just don't know how we can get rid of this. But
yeah,
clearly,
and there's usually different levels to sex offense registry.
Yep.
So some of those cases might be a lower level and not require this sort of thing.
Yeah.
But those people who prey on children, you better believe, you've got to protect society.
Yep, I agree. Parents' Law, I wonder if that makes the app illegal. There's an app out there where it will show you the map where, you could be out trick-or-treating and take a look, and there's stars all over the neighborhood you're in. Each one of those stars represents a house where a convicted sex offender lives. I wonder if that becomes a problem.
Yeah, it's scary out there.
A parent's lawsuit accuses Amazon of selling what? Suicide kits to teenagers.
Well, one man's suicide kit is another man's, home curing meat kit. And that's what this is. It's sodium nitrate. It's what, would-be butchers are using to cure bacon in their basement.
Yep.
Unfortunately, Amazon sells it at ungodly concentrations, but it's a legal product. And there are plenty of other legal products out there sold at ungodly concentrations. Just ask my wife, who buys the spray cleaner at such a concentration. We have to mix it with 150 parts water. But, the problem here really is that this chemical, when they sell it to people, on the bottom when you scroll the page and it says people have also bought it with this product, they're recommending books on euthanasia.
Yeah, that's a problem.
That's a problem.
Yep, that's a problem. I mean, the reality is we cannot protect people from themselves. You just can't. But when you start adding in books that give you how to easily commit suicide and then selling it with the product or recommending it with the product, that's a problem. Finally, family of George Floyd considers legal action over Kanye West. The key to this is comments. I would have thought you could make any comment you want. You could not live with. You couldn't be sued for it. Maybe you could be sued, but there's a free speech issue. But then again, with the case of what's his name, who just was charged in a civil lawsuit with having to pay over $1 billion or just under $1 billion. I guess it's possible. What's your take on this?
Well, yes, we do have free speech in this country. You are not free to defame and make false statements. But let's look at the statements he made before we indict him. He said that, Mr. Floyd died because of drugs. That was the crux of his statement.
Yeah.
Now, go back to the trial. The county medical examiner testified that he believed it was a cardiac failure, cardiac arrest that killed Mr. Floyd, and that while at the time of the incident, in his system, he had two drugs, fentanyl and methamphetamine. Now, I'm no doctor, but I don't believe that those drugs promote cardiac health, which is exactly what killed him, a failure of his heart.
Yep.
So defamation, I don't know. You could toss that out the window. Also, Mr. Floyd is dead, and I mean no disrespect, but dead people don't have rights to their reputation that could afford them damages in a defamation case.
I agree.
They're not going to lose a job because of a bad reputation.
This is somebody's opinion, and it should be protected under free speech.
Can I say as well?
Now, they're also saying that there was infliction of emotional distress. Now, this is one of the most talked about cases of the 21st century.
Yep.
And you're going to tell me that his comments, of all the comments out there, uniquely affected you emotionally? That seems, something a reasonable person may not agree to.
This should be thrown out.
Let me disagree, though, because it's the same thing with Alex Jones. Everyone talked about the school shooting. Everyone had an opinion. Is it any worse that he says it was fake than the day that you actually lost your child? Isn't that worse than hearing someone talk about it?
I think
there was a judgment.
I think they're two different things. What do you think, Ken?
Either. And look, this is why we have appeals courts. And I'm sure Alex Jones is going to appeal a whole slew of things that happened during his case.
Also, Kanye said he died from drug abuse, which is different than a drug overdose. But the context of that could be, look, he made some poor decisions because of his drug addiction, and that's where he wound up where he was that day, not necessarily it was a drug overdose that killed him.
Who cares what Kanye West says? Oh, wait a minute, he has money. That's the only reason.
That's true, too.
Right?
That's true.
All right, Ken Belkin, thanks as always. Enjoy the conversation. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Have a great day and a great week. And that's it for us. We got to go. Back tomorrow.
I'm Mary Finnegan, and I'm running for Oneida County Clerk. I'm the youngest of 7, and we still live locally. My dad was a World War II veteran, and my 95-year-old mom remains the backbone of our family. As a single mom working 2 jobs, I decided to run for public office and kept it for the last 17 years. Now I want to take that experience and serve the people of Oneida County. In Whitestown, I pushed to modernize the town offices and submitted and won a grant that brought our records department into the 21st century. All of this, and we still kept the public's information safe. If you elect me clerk, I'll do the same for Oneida County. I also understand the importance of customer service, working well with others, and recognizing people's strengths. If elected, the DMV will be my top priority. Designated lines, DMV navigators, and good old-fashioned customer service is where I'll begin on day 1. If you need a county clerk who can hit the ground running on day 1, appreciate your vote. Appreciate your vote. Appreciate your vote. This